normal. Do not intervene. Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Target in the vicinity.
Find him. I'll monitor your vitals. Watch out for radiation spikes.
Copy. Moving out. N2. N2.
Green burns the skin. Yellow brings leukemia. Purple causes mutations. No! Since you want to see this color, stop scaring yourself!
Focus up.
Silent feet.
Your silence against the polygraph only proves your connection to the recent string of malfunctions.
If I told you the root cause of the malfunctions was Hudson's impatience, would you believe me? System errors, core boiling. These are the consequences of the main reactor overloading.
I suggest you abandon any thoughts of shutting down the reactor. We're on a strict timetable. Next question. The signal you transmitted. Who was the recipient? H42. You're the glitch I've been hunting.
Go.
Playing the rear guard. That's not really our style. Your reflexes are slower than they used to be. Are emotions eating up your processing power?
You talk too much.
This isn't the right way.
I didn't send that signal to GTI just to escape.
You lied to us.
Sometimes lies are necessary to protect what matters. I have to initiate an emergency scram. I won't let a nuclear meltdown destroy Asara. The path ahead goes through a high radiation zone. You have no obligation to risk your life. We part ways here. Thank you.
Into the blender.
H42. You blocked Skynet, but you cannot erase your past. I am your past. You will only be beaten down.
Abort mission. Withdraw immediately.
Copy that. Regroup with Nox. Extract. Take a hot shower. No, wait! The scram at this power output. The residual heat won't dissipate and can lead to a core meltdown. So what do? Intervene!
Telemetry normal.
Stop the
Do not
explosion.
intervene. Telemetry
Face the
normal.
radiation.
Do not intervene.
Don't be an idiot. You can't do this. You couldn't do it back then.
Fall back now.
What about you? Can you handle him?
He's nothing but a past version of me. Nothing but a past version of me.
Just fall back. Don't worry about him. He's tough. Enough to survive a nuclear blast.
N2, your vitals show you're in the radiation zone.
I'm a walking reactor at this point.
H-1000, 2 hostiles in the control room.
Ugly variables.
Don't press it! If you shut down the reactor, the uncontrolled power surge could cause it to blow. But if I manually pull the core while you press it and create an asphyxiating environment...
That mitigates risk. But how do we do that?
Forgot to introduce myself. Codename. N2.
It could explode. Don't try to play hero.
No, I'm just trash. Maybe today. Trash can finally be put to use. I'm ready.
3, 2, 1.
Nothing much. Just fought some internal demons. And stopped a nuclear explosion while I was at it.
Nice work.
Telemetry normal. Do not intervene.
Nuclear power is poison, Nasir. You destroyed Asara's chance to be reborn. No. Nuclear power is the cure.
Smoke hands over Asara. The situation's reaching a breaking point. Time to bring in the experts. Team Rainbow has touched down in Asara. New ground? Not sure where to start? Search containers. Grab high-value loot.
I hear when I can, stop threats when I must.
Take down anyone in your way. Heavy fire, raise your shield, and hold the line. Don't forget your tactical gear. The gripple gun.
Enemy here!
Taking fire? Pull out the Hive Tac pistol. Patch yourself up. Keep your squad in the fight.
Call if you need a hand.
Outnumbered? Drop the jammer.
말보다는 행동이지.
Go dark. Strike first.
I've seen real horror.
Looks like they were waiting for us. No pressure. Trust your aim. Learn the map. Stay with your squad. Team Rainbow brings tactics built for close calls in Delta Force. That means sharper plays, smarter fights, and operator-on-operator mind games. All right, it's go time. Extract safely, and everything you learn comes with you. New operation, new look. During the event, Noxus Vigil Bundle, Suniva's Montaigne Bundle, and Stinger Stock Bundle. Pick any two of the 3 operator bundles for free. More collab rewards are waiting. Open an Alpha pack and try your luck. In Asara, the right weapon to turn the tide. Black Eyes, one of Rainbow Six Siege's most iconic weapon appearances, gets a new Delta Force take. Complete event missions and choose one of 2 Black Eyes collab bundles for free. Join the event to claim the MP5 submachine gun Black Eyes, plus more rewards. Wait, what's this? Team Rainbow left something behind in Asara? A collectible drone you can deploy. Deploy it and see what you can uncover. July 10th to July 23rd, play to earn the K437 assault rifle Domineering. Looks like we're fully loaded for this operation. That's the full rundown on the Delta Force Rainbow Six Siege collaboration. Remember the rules: sharp aim, map knowledge, and teamwork. The mission: breach in, extract out.
This court finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up. Just do with the AI.
Priority. Protect company assets. Mouth closed.
Destroyed our home!
That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codenamed N2, role, engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into legal proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployment, a deployment under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Cold. I can go colder.
I'll get you out of here.
Got the Mandelbricks. Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not going to do very much. Though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. And there it is. So we are back with day number 2, getting ready to get right into the swing of things here on the Delta Force Rise series. Yesterday was a good start, right? Group A, Group B brought a lot of heat to the day, and of course we're going to be taking a look on that. But on the desk is myself and Mr. Vivid. Vivid, how you doing today?
Yeah, feeling good, DK. Super excited to jump into just day number 2 here. I mean, listen, I got the opportunity to kind of sit down yesterday, of course, watch EMEA, Group A and Group B kind of go head-to-head. Also got to sit down and watch America's go head-to-head as well. So super excited to jump into that today as well.
Well, let's take a look at what happened yesterday with a quick little bit of a recap.
Yeah, this is actually on the back foot of that sniper, picking up the knob there, the M82, but Max is going to return the favor onto Cell. Specifically, Nox is going to try to get aggressive to go ahead and return another favor, and that's actually going to be Team Gotaga. When they were down in numbers, they were actually winning this thing. They have the advantage. Now it's going to be a 2v1, and Scooby's going to have to be left to make something happen. You can see he is actually on the blender right now, so the reses are going to come in on the back foot of the ultimate. He could potentially play around them. He actually goes ahead and opts for the knock to go ahead and get that kill confirmation, but Team Gotaga...
We do have that extra airdrop that is currently being looted as well. Now there's going to be Chaos and Carnage here on the side of DE as they try to defend, but FLC applying so much pressure as they too try to send it on forward. Oh, look at the hits though that Shepard play. The ult being absolutely disastrous. Onto it here, as you can see, WLG moving up, but Alliance and FLC getting into a bit of an altercation.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance just kind of waiting in the wings here on the receiving end of this zip line, and FLC unfortunately did not have the information.
Yeah, that does put them on a bit of a back foot, but as you can see, Maxa try to push up as well. The Alliance there just welcoming them in as both teams now look to contest for that Mandelbrick. It is going to be yet another team getting their hands on it as Alliance gets a bit of a feel for it here, but so much utility getting deployed. You can see it is absolute carnage and chaos. Gotaga are going to dare venture up to that Mandelbrick next.
I love that trying to make something happen on the back foot of their Tempest ult being available. That's going to be Evan going down. Great shots from Nox, who, by the way, not too long ago was just a solo. He has actually managed to find both of the Rise right now, so they're trying to make something happen. But LFS are now under a lot of pressure from the side of DE. That's going to be a couple of Nox being traded back and forth. But Team Gotaga, they join in on this little bit of a 3v3 that was happening. And they're going to be the breadwinners here. They're going to be a full 3-man roster still alive after they picked up all of those kills. But oh my gosh, Vlad, you jump into the room, there is somebody behind you. A member of Team LFS is laying right behind Vlad. Imperator could play spoiler to the whole strategy here from Team Gotaga, and sure enough, the Nox comes in. Imperator tries to stay alive, but tucks away in the corner. That's going to be easy shots landed
on their sides. No, not quite sure if that is going to be enough to deter the side of WLG as they are going to be pushing forward. Beautiful sprays coming through. One down. Oh, almost gets the finish. Now it's up to Maxa to try and drive this one home. WLG down to a 2-piece, and everything now riding on this performance here from Maxa as he tries to shoot through the smoke. We're not finding any damage, but it's going to be Scooby looking to go in for the disruption. Oh
my gosh, got it. He got it. He got it on the back foot of landing hip fire shots. Vest that is all but broken. Just a sliver of durability left, as you can see in the bottom of your screen. So if Maxa lands some shots, it's going to be a pretty quick kill. And that it is. Maxa in a 1v3 situation up against WLG. But they're under approach from multiple different directions. Who are they going to invest in? As oh my gosh, Fulbright is able to be picked up. That's going to be Maxa finding this angle, and now Team DE are going to be left with 2 members remaining to try to go ahead and defend this. Is the utility going to be allowed? But take a look at this. A little bit of an assist from Saloa. A completely different team is kind of helping DEL, but Maxa is able to jump on. How do they let him cross? The shot comes in, but it fails. It does not find its way into the little bit of a cubby hole, and as a result, Team Gotaga are going to deny Team DE.
15 seconds left on the clock, and if DE wants to do anything here, they're going to have to get a lot more aggressive. With that, it is going to be FLC getting that Mandelbrick ticked off for them, and now it's in the bag. Well, there we go. A quick look at all the insanity that unfolded yesterday between Group A and Group B. And today, Vivid, we are adding new groups to the table here.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, kind of looking to look at that recap, there was no one single team that was pretty much standing out throughout the all day yesterday. Of course, we had some teams kind of pick up more Mandelbricks than some others, but everybody was always in the mix. And that's what I loved to see out of the group stage day number 1 yesterday. And I'm kind of expecting the same thing today. I feel like the competition has just been so close. That has kind of been the theme of it. Also, what has been the theme of it is just going the absolute distance, going all the way to game number 7. So I'm excited for today.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how today is going to pan out and whether or not we are going to go that full distance yet again. But of course, a quick look at what the overall leaderboard situation is. It is going to be Team Gotaga sat all the way at the tippity top with those 9 total match points going their way. And that, of course, is going to be what the teams are playing for. Yes, in the day yourself, you want to play for the squad points, but it all accumulates into the overall match points. And that will be determining who's going to be sitting at the board come the end of the group stage.
Yeah, you can see right there, number 1 and 2. They're going to be highlighted in gold because at the end of the group stage, 1st and 2nd place will go directly into the finals. For 3rd through 10th, they'll still have an opportunity to qualify for the finals. But unfortunately, at the end of the group stage, remember, we're still like 4 weeks away. 11th and 12th will unfortunately be eliminated from the competition. But speaking about the format, why don't we go ahead and jump into a video to kind of explain it just a little bit better.
Delta Force. 1 game, 2 regions, 1 shot at glory. This is the complete guide to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Everything you need to know, from the very first match to the last squad standing. The path is the same in both regions. It starts with the open qualifiers, open to any team that wants to compete. The best push through to the group stage, where the top 2 advance directly to the finals, bottom 2 eliminated, and the rest battle through the survivor stage to earn their spot. From the open qualifiers, 12 teams have fought their way into the season, and only 1 will lift the trophy. The group stage runs for 4 weeks, with matches every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The 12 teams are split into 4 groups, A, B, C, and D. 3 teams per group. Each broadcast day, 2 groups go head-to-head in a cross-group match. Every match is a 7-round format. 6 teams competing in the same lobby simultaneously, across up to 7 rounds on maps like Zero Dam, Brakkesh, Tide Prison, and Space City. Teams earn squad points by scoring eliminations and accumulating in-game total assets. And on brick rounds, they compete to collect and decode Mandelbricks, artifacts that decide the round winner. Decode 2 Mandelbricks in a match and the victory is locked in, no matter what round you're on. After 12 match days, the group stage standings are final. Places 1 to 2 go straight to the finals. Places 3 to 8 enter Survivor Stage Day 1. Places 9 to 10 drop into Survivor Stage Day 2. Places 11 to 12 are eliminated. The Survivor Stage is where the bracket narrows fast. Day 1 brings those 6 teams together for one 7-round match. The top 2 advance directly to the finals. Places 3 to 6 get 1 more shot. Day 2 mixes the 4 survivors from Day 1 with the 2 teams ranked 9th and 10th from the group stage. Again, 6 teams, 1 7-round match. Top 2 go to the finals. Everyone else is out. 6 teams, 1 day, 1 lobby, 1 match. This is the finals, the ultimate showdown of the season. 2 teams earned it through the group stage. 2 more survived Day 1. The last 2 came through Day 2. Every team deserves to be there. The top 3 finishers earn an invitation to Season 2. Welcome to Delta Force Rise Series EMEA and Americas Season 1. Loot, shoot, extract.
Right, so as we can see, there's quite a bit of a journey ahead for our teams as we are currently in that group stage. And of course, this is just a bit of a breakdown from what we just saw in that video, right? So the prime position for these teams to aim for is to get into that 1st and 2nd place, because that is the direct ticket into the finals. For the teams that don't make it, they are going to have to grind it out all the way in those survivor stages, which is going to be absolutely brutal, Vivid.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to find yourself in the survivor stage. You don't want to find yourself eliminated out of the group stage either. So making it way to that finals is going to be very, very important, which is going to be crazy, man. We're going to have a 5-week-long competition and kind of decide it all. We're just going to have 1 day there on the finals, right? 1 day, 7-round match to kind of dictate so much at the end of the Rise series. Very, very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I think that week 5 is going to be the pretty tough week to come through, as that kind of concludes everything right then and there. But of course, firstly, let's take a look at the rules to see exactly how the teams and the players are going to be stepping out here. They each are going to be starting with that 1.5 million Technic alloy each. As we know, when you die, you lose it, but the important part to play for here is going to be those Mandelbricks, right? Every Mandelbrick is going to count for them, and of course, we are playing on Season Echo. That means that we've got Morse in the game available to choose as an operator, but the important thing here is that round setup. Round 1 and 3 are going to be airdrops only. Round 2, 4, and beyond is going to be where we'll see those Mandelbricks come in. But of course, as we know, Vivid, there are some other additional rules to take a look at.
Yeah, of course, every single one of our players is going to have access to the 3x3 safe box to kind of put some loot into that they're able to pick up throughout the map. 12 slot card holder. Every single player will have access to every single key card room on all of the maps, and there are some ways to kind of pick up some extra alloys throughout. You will be getting a fixed supply after every single game. 800,000 per elimination is probably the most important one there, but the most important thing overall is, of course, going to be the Mandelbrick, and this is pretty much how you are going to be able to go ahead and capture it. Of course, when the match itself actually starts, the Mandelbrick, wherever it spawns, is not immediately available. It becomes available shortly after a little bit of a countdown. Once the Mandelbrick is picked up by a squad, that squad has 5 minutes to place it at a decoding station, or it will reset back to that initial spawn point. If a Mandelbrick is kind of put into that station, they've got 4 minutes to go ahead and decode it. But a bunch of stuff can kind of happen if other teams go ahead and opt to try to steal it. And this is going to be that point scoring system that we were talking about coming out of the group stage. Every single time that these players are kind of playing on their broadcast day, whenever their match days are, at the end of the day, this is how many points they can go ahead and grab to make sure that they are one of those two teams, potentially making it all the way directly into the finals, or even, you know, making your way to those survivor stages and picking up some qualification spots through that.
Yeah, I mean, you want to definitely try and get as many points as you can. And another additional way to get it, aside from those Mandelbricks, is going to be, of course, the squad points. And how they get those squad points is firstly looking at the amount of kills that they get, right? Each kill is going to award them 1 point. But when it comes to the total amount of assets and profits that they can extract from the rounds themselves, they will be awarded 1 point for every 2 million they get, right? So you said this beautifully yesterday. If a team gets 1.99999 mil, they still get 1 point because it's not a 2, and so that is going to be the big thing to play for. And aside from that, of course, once we get to the finals, this is what the teams will be walking away with, right? The team up in first place is going to be bagging $60,000. Second place is going to be worth $30,000. Of course, everybody walks away with something here, especially our MVP getting $3 grand going their way as well.
Yeah, and something that kind of flew on the radar for us yesterday on EMEA, but was kind of brought to the limelight on the Americas region, was that $50 per kill. So incredible stuff there. And again, we watched Group A versus Group B yesterday. Today, it's going to be all about Group C versus Group D. We got the likes of Genius, Number One, AGARTHA there, and some other teams to kind of join in on the mix. But a quick look at our schedule before we do jump into the competition. You can see we are just on July 11th, all the way over there to the left. And we have a lot of match days left before we even end the Rise series. So a lot of stuff can kind of happen between today and the end of everything, which is why we were kind of talking. Listen, some of our teams that potentially did poorly yesterday, the competition is not over at all. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the rosters we're going to be seeing today.
Yeah, we've got quite a few teams coming in here, as you can see, starting us off with all the hot and sweaty positions. Of course, is going to be none other than the players coming through there from the side of Genius. So curious to see how they are going to look to play this, as we did see Hanak there, as well as this teammate over here. They don't have a favorite weapon, and that is exciting because I'm curious to see what their choices will be as we, of course, now move over onto AGARTHA.
Yeah, AGARTHA here. I mean, Nast has to be kind of the standout player for me on this squad. We actually see it jumping into these broadcast days. Part of the highlight reel was him going ahead and picking up a 1v2 situation. But of course, his teammates are going to be a big part of this team's success as well. The great thing about AGARTHA, they're a qualified team. We have a total of 7 qualified teams and 5 invited teams to the EMEA region here. Let's take a look at the number 1 team, Matthias here. It's going to be 1,400 hours of game time. This is a freaking consistent theme, DK. Thousands of hours for all of our players that we have kind of seen, upwards of like 2,000. All these players pretty much only ever being beat out by LASIK, who just plays the game way too much, frankly. But this is going to be Group C here. Number 1, AGARTHA and Genius.
Yeah, that is quite a bit of a lineup, but I'm excited to see what is going to be happening over in Group D, as there's one team that kind of already, just based on their name, is setting a bit of a precedent, right? And we'll get to them in a hot minute. But first up, we are going to be starting here with FLOORPOV, as that is essentially what they want their opponents to see, right? The whole point of view from that floor position. As we look at the game time here, also some pretty strong numbers being secured on their end. I'm really looking forward to seeing what FLOORPOV is going to be looking to bring out here. Of course, we did see them play through the open qualifiers, so already we kind of seen and gotten a taste of what they could be bringing in here today.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great to kind of see. I think this is the first time we've seen 5 players on a roster. Of course, could be involved with some coaches, but Fnatic is actually going to be the only invited team that we're going to be taking a look at today. We got Raid Bull first. This guy is very, very used to kind of popping off. I'm very familiar kind of saying that name. We got Bane here, and again, the favorite weapons of the M7s are kind of raining in. This is a pretty consistent theme, and Jam there as well. But I think this is the team DK was kind of talking about, Mandelbrick Addiction.
Yeah, the name says it all, right? It seems they've got a problem, but it's a good problem, and this is exactly the game for such problems, as they are potentially going to be chasing those Mandelbricks throughout the day here, and curious to see just how they are going to look to perform. But again, also a pretty strong lineup coming through on their end, and that's it, right? Group C, Group D, we've now taken the opportunity to see exactly who they are, and I want to see how much they are going to look to bring into this. I mean, Mandelbrick Addiction, even back in the open qualifiers, right? They finished quite strong with those 25 eliminations and that double brick extraction. So I think there is going to be a lot to look forward to. Of course, we did see FLOORPOV also playing a very strong game in their own version of that. So yeah, I think these teams have pretty much set the standard of expectation we could be looking at. But as we know, our map rotation is going to be exactly the same as we saw yesterday, right? We are going to be starting over on Zero Dam, heading over into Brakkesh before starting round number 3 on Tide Prison. And after that, it is going to be the big old Space City rundown.
Yeah, very, very excited. A reminder, we don't necessarily have to go all the way to round 7. If any one of these teams is able to pick up 2 total mana bricks before we actually make it there. So we'll have to see if that could kind of happen here today. But Zero Dam is going to be our first map of the day, and our players are actually loading in as we currently speak. There's going to be one objective on a map like Zero Dam. Of course, you want to extract with all of the loot you're able to pick up, but we have seen it as of late be an absolute bloodbath. The fact that every single kill is going to net you 1 squad point on the leaderboard. Every single kill is also going to net you 800,000 in Technic Alloy. It has become a giant importance in the terms of the game plan that all of our teams have kind of bestowed upon us on a map like Zero Dam. But taking a look at some of the spawns here and some of the operators, we're seeing a lot of D-Wolf and a lot of firing. And to note as well, a Raptor on every single one of our 6 teams.
Yeah, I don't think Raptor is going to be too much of a surprise, especially stepping over on towards Zero Dam. But I like the change up going through with the Veyron, right? Because yesterday, that's not exactly the loadout that the other teams decided to go for here. So curious to see how they're going to look to play through this one. For the time being, everybody just going to try and get themselves situated. We see the teams very, very spread out, and if I'm looking at this correctly, I only see a few squads. I'm trying to get my eyes on one of them, and I can't really find them on the battlefield just yet. But we'll find out in due course exactly what is going to be happening. But I'm expecting quite a bit of scouting, especially with all these Raptors to come through.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And it looks like Fnatic are going to be joined in the admin building by Mandelbrick Addiction here. This is probably a fight that could go a couple different ways. Sometimes this fight kind of stalls out entirely as the reds start flowing for the first time here on day number 2. That's going to be NBA picking up a Quantum Stores there. But yeah, this fight can kind of go 2 different ways. Sometimes it gets stalled out for almost the entirety of these 18 minutes. But we actually saw it yesterday. Our teams opting to play very, very aggressive, kind of take it to the other team, if you will. it'll be exciting to kind of see how this one kind of pans out. I personally like to go ahead and just take the opportunity to go ahead and take the 3v3 kind of heads up, because it's pretty much the only time you're going to actually get access to this. And I'm taking a look at the team of Genius right there in blue on the left side of admin. You can see Kalo down there is actually going to go ahead and pick up the wall breaker contract, which is now super important on the Rise series, kind of coming into this a little bit of a change. Some of these contracts that are around some of these maps actually give you access to these lucky wooden sculptures. So basically what they are used for is kind of like a barter, a trade, if you will, in the shop, where instead of buying some of these gold armor kits with alloy, you can actually buy those gold armor kits with the statues if you're able to go ahead and pick them up. So very, very important to keep a note on if they're going to be able to complete the wallbreaker contract or not. And with it going off right there, the big explosion, and nobody kind of in their way, I wouldn't be surprised if they are able to.
Yeah, I think Gen actually have a pretty good setup to get themselves into that wall breaker play quite early on. And I mean, we saw this happening over in Americas yesterday, right, where they got those wooden statues instead of using the Technic alloy to acquire a little bit of that gold setup here. But yeah, now it's going to be up to Geniuses to see whether or not they can get themselves positioned as they are just patiently kind of moving in onto wall breaker. Not a full send though, right? They're kind of keeping their eyes open to see if anybody is going to dare venture up and look to contest them. And I mean, this might be a beautiful strategy from them to try and bait out a few of the squads here.
Yeah, without a doubt, you can see they're kind of interested in holding some of the angles. We can see that that airdrop for the first time on Zero Dam here, 1 of 2, by the way, is currently falling from the sky. So that position has kind of been marked on the map. Getting some information from the side here that it's going to be on the southern side of Zero Dam, which is nuanced compared to what we saw yesterday. We saw both the airdrops land around the admin area all the way up north. So this time around, we'll be taking some fights for sure on the southern side of the map. But the side of NBA, you could see on the other side of admin, they knew Fnatic were here, but they're kind of looking for the fight, right? They're sending it right now. They don't have all the information. But Fnatic have actually dipped down into the basement, which I think has kind of been based around the fact that they wanted to go ahead and loot up the basement, or eventually they were kind of thinking about flanking NBA on the other side. But take a look at this. Team Genius, they have successfully made it down to the vault.
As you can see, Shin is just so excited to get into that vault. First, got to deal with that machine gunner before you can start getting your hands on it. But there we go. Quick business dealt with. Now we're going to look to see if they'll be able to find enough of those raids. There's already 2 rather, of those statues have been secured. A few golden bricks coming in there as well. So they are having a field day. Meanwhile, the FLOORPOV squad, they are heading straight over onto the airdrop, looking to get their hands on some of that group as well. And yep, here we go. Things are looking pretty dang exciting in the airdrop as well.
Yeah, this is going to be an ARM here, which is kind of fun. Yesterday, we only saw M82 Bears. Take a look at this. Over at the admin area, Fnatic and NBA are going to be going head-to-head. There's a 1v1 happening in the smoke. It's going to be the barrel stuff between Skitey and Raid Bull, but Skitey's going to go ahead and win that one out. And now, the opportunity for NBA to go ahead and reset and just play the numbers game, the 3v2. And the Jam was trying to make something happen here. I was watching his HP in the bottom left. I saw his armor get cracked. He actually had a gold piece of armor, which I think was actually off of Saeed himself. I think he went to go ahead and repair that. But it's fine. He had that purple armor swap in his backpack ready to go. But for the side of Mandelbrick Addiction, they got to go ahead and apply the pressure, because as you can see, Fnatic, they're kind of running away. If NBA were able to go ahead and apply the pressure, I mean, surely they would have picked up 2 more kills, but I think potentially they might just be content with taking the loot off of Raid Bull and taking that one singular kill, which, by the way, has been the first one in almost 7 minutes of gameplay on Zero Dam. But the team that picked up the FLOORPOV has brought that sniper rifle all the way to the basement of admin, and they could potentially go ahead and switch how things are going to play up here.
I mean, they're making some bold moves, right? I mean, AWAM up close, that is... I'm not quite sure if they're going to use the AWAM up close, right? Much rather like to see them use that in the later Mandelbrick rounds. But for the time being, I mean, they are right up in there. They mean business as they make their way on through. And we do see still Fnatic continuing with their escape, right? They're just holding off over on towards that eastern building. Not going to be looking to make too many moves just yet. Meanwhile, it's going to be Genius. They've now pretty much concluded their looting session up in the wall breaker. And I mean, looking at their overall profits, 2.4 mil, it's been a pretty good session.
Yeah, without a doubt. A couple of other teams actually at that 2 mil mark, basically, with NBA at 1.9 there. So just a little bit more loot, and they will go ahead and crest that number. And as a quick note, remember those squad points on the leaderboard, every 2 mil in total loot value in your stash, it's going to go ahead and net you those points. So it is kind of an important number to keep in mind. But that second airdrop has now started to kind of fall down from the sky. And actually, once again, it's going to be on the south side of Zero Dam. And a quick look at the map over here. We've got a bunch of teams over by this admin area, but just 2 on the south side, right? We got NBO here up against AGT potentially right around the area that this airdrop is going to land. So in about 45 seconds time, I would imagine that these 2 teams are going to go head to head.
Yep, that seems like a very likely outcome to take place here. But in the meantime, we do see the players from Genius making their approach over towards that no-bag extract, as they are going to be setting it up along that northern corridor. Meanwhile, right here into the central column, this is where things could get quite exciting, as AGARTHA just doing a little bit of scanning, looking to get that recon absolutely locked in. But number one, also not going to be looking to move all too much, right? They are just patiently awaiting that airdrop to come down so they can get their hands on it and see what loot waits for them inside. But admin, though, also, right, the close quieting down quite a bit. It was quite active just a few mere moments ago, but now doesn't seem like there's all too much currently happening there.
Yeah, a completely different approach to the Zero Dam entirely than what we kind of saw yesterday. By this point, I think there's like 3 or 4 teams kind of eliminated from Zero Dam. The fights were just kind of popping off. In this one, though, we only have 1 singular player eliminated so far in about 10 minutes of gameplay almost. Just a very, very passive approach. I was taking a look at the map when we did get a quick look at it there. Team Genius, they've actually left that wall breaker, and I think they're going to go ahead and opt to potentially go for that backpack extract just to kind of get somebody out with all of that loot they've been able to pick up, especially those wooden sculptures. So they'll be a team that'll be well equipped for some of these following rounds. But finally, Matthias, he's going to be interested in jumping onto this airdrop on the back foot of dropping the smoke. The side of AGT, the other team that's kind of in the area, they've gone ahead and opted to potentially go ahead and flank these guys at small substation. But oh my gosh, take a look at this. Usually these airdrops only have 1 red in them and then a bunch of golds, but this time around 2 reds. Going to be the Gazelle and the Ventilator there. That's going to be almost 900,000 in loot for the team of number 1.
Yeah, I mean, if they've also not upgraded their black side yet, right, that is exactly what they need to get those final few upgrades going. But of course, as we know, they are going to be trying to lock in as much bank as they can here. It's all up to AGARTHA to see whether or not they'll be able to push on forward. I mean, they need quite a bit of that economy. And as we know, right, one other way other than reds is to go for the aggression, to go ahead and try and get those kills in. But now it is going to be AGARTHA just looking onto the players there from number 1. Neither team doing all too much. Meanwhile, actually, we do see Genius not going for no back, right? They're coming down for, I think, that paid extract instead.
And finally, we have some fights kind of picking up towards that admin area. That's going to be NBA finally finding one of those last remaining members. Or no, they're actually going to find the full squad wipe with a little bit of help from the team ratting in the basement. I can imagine that NBA finally sniffed out the last 2 remainings of Fnatic. They were able to pick up 1. The solo probably dropped down into that hole that is in the bathroom area, and team FLOORPOV were probably just waiting in the wings. So unfortunately for Fnatic, they have been fully wiped off of the map. NBA are going to be feeling good about that, though. They're going to be picking up 2 kills and all of the loot from a couple of bodies. And remember, Team FPOV here, they are the team with the in hand. As we're going to go ahead and mention that, you mentioned it, Team Genius. They were interested in not taking that backpack extract. They're interested in the fights. And on the back foot of that, the giant flank onto the side of NBO here is going to net them 2 kills. And with the last remaining member here of Enter being very, very low, just 40% HP to work with, it was inevitable. Team Genius pick up a clean 3v3 team wipe. But clean is not the answer for long here, as AGT are starting to join the mix, and that's going to be on the back foot of Nast finding the initial knock.
Well, we'll find out soon whether or not this play from Genius was big brain or not, as the shots now from Yaku is going to be starting to connect on in. And this is where this whole position could be turned on its head, as Genius, they do have a play down quickly, getting them back on their feet, falling back into the minefield there. But it is going to be AGARTHA now full sending it, trying to see if they can pick up any plays along the way. But looking at Genius, they just have this one under lockdown as Nast goes down next. Oh, this could be quite a bit of a comeback and a capitalization actually coming through from the side of Genius.
Yeah, this is great play of some of the angles here by both of the team members, but they got to be careful. They need the information. This is a giant flank from Chuba here, but I think Chins is going to be well aware of this, and he definitely is, as the Fire Knockdown tries to make its way over towards Chuba. But a little bit of a reset here. Chins has one thing in mind: just delay until my team is back up and healthy. You can see Hannah picks up the res, but they're still going to need a couple of moments to make sure that the heals come through. And I think that Chuba, now kind of feeling the pressure by the clock itself, kind of realizing, hey, listen, there's been a lot of time that's kind of been allotted here. I think they're going to be a full 3-man roster. That, of course, is going to be the case for Team Genius. But take a look at the admin fight. We're going to be seeing MBA versus FPOV here, potentially. And with that giant ring of the sniper shot that kind of went off inside of the building, MBA are now going to be fully well aware of the fact that the team that they're up against right now has that sniper rifle.
I mean, that could be both a good thing and a bad thing, right? A good thing in the sense of the team they're going up against might now look to change their approach and maybe back off of that fight, or they could decide to go the exact opposite way and actually look to try and lay their hands on as we do say goodbye to AGARTHA. An absolutely phenomenal play coming through from the side of Genius, as they've now been able to take down 2 squads in one single bout. But of course, in the meantime, it is going to be MBA, right? The Mandelbrick Addiction Squad looking to go and play for that extraction. We just have under 3 minutes left on the clock, so there's still a big opportunity for FPOV to maybe look to step up and do a little bit of contention here.
Yeah, unfortunately for the side of Team Genius, by the way, when they initially approached that fight towards that southern riverbank extract, team number 1, NBO, were actually on the extract, and I think they took all of the seats. Even though they didn't actually extract, they had activated for all 3 of the seats there. So Team Genius cannot actually extract via that southern side of the map. So it'll be a big question mark for me as to kind of what's going to be their approach here. But for the likes of MBA over towards this elevator extract, is that going to be a big red? It is. That's going to be a 3x3 carbon fiber found here in the last remaining minutes for Blake. That's going to be plus 2 million alloy that he can put in that 3x3 safe box. So no matter what happens, whether or not they extract, that's going to be a big find for this team. And yeah, confirmation kind of coming in by that little message in the center of the screen there for Team Genius. No more extraction seats, unfortunately. So we'll have to see what the game plan is going to be here for these guys. But again, MBA, elevator extract on the mine. They have early control over it. So it's going to be up to FPOV to kind of make something happen.
Yeah, it definitely is. But of course, I think the only potential extract available to Genius could be that no bag extract that they were rotating past not too long ago, because up north here things are going to get pretty sweaty very soon, as Mandelbrick Addiction are just going to be trying to lock it down. It's going to be FLOORPOV now contesting as they push up through the corridor here, looking for a bit of an opportunity, a bit of an angle. You can see that D-Wolf nades now getting flung on in. But it is going to be Builder also having one of those on his own side. So expecting quite a bit of a back and forth utility now coming in pretty clutch. Just keeping FLOORPOV at bay, not allowing them that entry. And it's all going to come down to timing. Can the Mandelbrick Addiction team get right into the extraction location right on time?
Yeah, 40 seconds remaining. Not a lot of time to kind of work with here. NBA are trying to go ahead and hold this one off, but a giant flood kind of comes in from this side door from the likes of FPOV. And with that drone kind of landing right on the head tops of one of the members here, they gotta go ahead and make something happen. You can see the util is starting to kind of flood in here. The Vira knockdown comes out, try to create some space. The fights are kind of going off. The shots are kind of being exchanged, but it's just going to be a spray and pray into the smoke with 10 seconds remaining here. A bunch of trades kind of happen. Both teams are finding their knocks. NBA are going to lose one member that's going to be on the ground, but it's actually going to be the play to be aggressive. The knife is being brought to the gunfight, and amongst all of the chaos, yeah, the kills were traded, but nobody actually extracted from this elevator extract. And amongst all of the chaos, by the way, some members of Team Genius has actually made their way all the way to this area. They're just trying to make something happen. They jump into the fray. That's going to be Chins, though. Even though he had the element of surprise, Buldo finds the knock and an extra kill before Zero Dam ends.
I mean, coming in just exactly when he needed to lock that one in. Beautiful play, but will we see kill or being able to get a little bit of something going here? I mean, Genius, they played a phenomenal match so far, but it is going to be the Mandelbrick Addiction team to be the last one standing. And as we know, it all now comes down to how much they've been able to accrue in this game. How many kills were they able to bag in? And that is what it all boils down to.
Big smile on the face there. Some of the members of NBA, they're feeling pretty good about that one. I think they would have preferred to kind of get some of their members out after some of those kills came in, but just the timing of the push from FPOV kind of prevented that. And then towards the end there as well, what kind of felt like a little bit of a donation from the side of Genius, just kind of running in and giving NBA some extra kills on their way out. And for sure, NBA are going to be our best team in round number 1. Pretty much solely because of all of those kills they were able to accumulate there. 7 total on the back foot of 1,500 total damage. And the assets gain, yeah, it's just kind of approaching 800k there. As we know, it's very, very hard to pick up a lot of assets if you do not successfully extract. But speaking about successfully kind of extracting, we only saw one member in the entirety of Zero Dam actually make it out of the map. And that was going to be Hannah there from Team Genius. Total of 1.6 mil in tow there for him, and kind of 2.8 mil for the team in total. But it's actually going to be Hannah towards the top of the kill leaderboard here. First place with 4 kills.
Yeah, Hannah ripping hard for the squad. So Genius definitely coming in with quite a bit of a strategy here. So GG to Hannah for being our top killer. Of course, the top damage is going to go in that exact same direction. So a pretty consistent spread across all 3 players that we can see taking up those top 3 slots right here. Starting off with 689, ending on 560. But then when it comes to the assist, you can see Chin's definitely right there alongside. You see Hannah definitely bringing in that assistance to make sure that they can get all those points locked in on the board.
Without a doubt, our top asset earners is no surprise going to be Blake. And I think pretty much 100% of that 2.1 million was just on the back foot of that carbon fiber he was able to kind of put in the 3x3 safe box. But our MVP is going to be Hannah, and this is typically the way that it goes. You love to value those kills, so if you're the kill leader, there's a high chance that you're going to be the MVP as well. 4 kills as an individual, 700 damage and 1.6 mil in assets gained. Zero Dam was pretty crazy, DK. A lot different than what we kind of saw yesterday. It feels like all of the action kind of happened in the last 4 minutes there. But some of our teams are going to be feeling pretty good about that one.
Yeah, definitely quite a bit of a shift in the pacing here. And of course, that is what we are expecting to see with 2 new groups stepping onto the field here. But of course, as we know, right, first one done, dusted. So that is going to be bringing us to the end of the excitement, at least for Zero Dam. Next up, though, we are going to be prepping ourselves for a little bit of that Brakkesh action. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you right after the break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute sweat! This... And Ellis just got him, they're here, lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up. Just do with the AI.
Priority. Protect company assets. Valve closed.
You destroyed our home!
That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codenamed N2, role, engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into legal proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployment under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Cold. I can go colder.
I'll get you out of here. The enemy got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first Mandelbrick of the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not going to do very much, though. When you get barrel stuff, Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. There it is.
Welcome back to day number 2 right here in the Delta Force Rise series for EMEA. Of course, our first round already concluded over on Zero Dam, but now, Vivid, we're getting ready for a little bit of that Brakkesh action to come cooking on in.
Yeah, super excited to kind of jump into our first Mandelbrick round of the day. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a look at how that first one ends up panning out on the leaderboard. NBA with 7 kill points there, going to be in first place with a total of 12 squad points. Quickly following up behind them is going to be Team Genius after they were able to go ahead and take a couple of 3v3s of their own on the south side of the Zero Dam. But outside of that, I mean, the other 4 teams pretty lackluster in the amount of points. There's a giant gap between second and third place of 7 points right there, which FLOORPOV are actually being carried right now in terms of supply points just simply by that carbon fiber that we talked about numerous amounts of times. They have 1 kill of their own, but the rest of our teams actually making it out of Zero Dam with a total of 0 kills. So going into Brakkesh, you got to imagine there should actually be a giant discrepancy in what some of our teams actually have access to in terms of gear. So it'll be interesting to kind of see whether or not somebody is going to be interested in bringing in some gold armor pretty early on. And I think it's also going to be important for us to kind of talk about that that was on the hands of some of the FPOV members. That did not make it out of Zero Dam, so we will not be seeing that throughout the rest of the day. But a quick rundown of the spawn predictions before we jump into Brakkesh.
Yeah, as we can see, of course, a few of our squads already getting those T1 spawns. So that means they can't get the T1 spawns coming over into round number 2. So these are the locations where the teams can spawn. So whomever spawns in T1 in the previous round can't get it in the subsequent round, right? They can't get it in round 2, but there is again that option coming through potentially as we head over into round number 3. But for now, it is going to be just down to where the teams are going to be finding themselves coming in here. And of course, we saw in that first round a lot of the purple gear and purple rounds being equipped by our players, as of course it is eco rounds, so they are trying to come in as cheap as they possibly can. But now stepping into Airdrop and Mandelbrick, this is where they have the opportunity to slightly change that dynamic, right? Because not only do they have to defend the Mandelbrick if they choose to go for the decode, but they're also going to find a way to kind of contest the other squads that might be trying to steal it from them.
And take a look at some of the breakdowns there at the bottom of the screen. Looks like everybody is almost going to be exclusively wearing purple armor right there, except for the side of Hannah. Kind of opting to go ahead and bring in that golden armor, which I would not be surprised, by the way, if that was just simply an exchange on the store there with some of those wooden sculptures. As we do know, Team Ingenious went ahead and picked it up. But take a look at this. Fnatic is going to be getting early access to one of our reds here on Brakkesh. That IFV is going to be netting 1.3 million alloy, which is going to be great for them.
Yeah, that is the kind of start that you want to have coming into this, but now it's going to be a nice combination of loot and chaos as the teams are going to look to get themselves situated in that. Of course, Mandelbrick has just become active. I like the position here coming through from Genius, as yesterday we had quite a bit of contention, right? We had a team right over towards the north holding up in a hotel, and another squad in exactly the same position as Genius is situated right now. But it does seem like Genius do have quite a bit of a different setup coming through to them. And of course, a little bit of that alligator coming out of here as well, as Fnatic is on the looting spree.
When it rains, it pours right now for the likes of Fnatic, and both of those reds are actually going to be able to be tucked away safely in those 3x3s as long as they go ahead and distribute them appropriately. We did go ahead and get a quick glimpse, by the way, of some of the spawns for our teams, Team FPOV and Team Genius. We're our lucky ducks here with those T1 spawns. That being said, they haven't necessarily done anything initially with those spawns. But around that 16-minute mark, by the way, is when the Tempest ults become available. And a little bit of a surprise here. We see 2 of our teams bringing in Tempest early on. It's going to be Team NBA and Team Genius. And both of these teams are actually in proximity of this Mandelbrick. So we'll have to see what either one of these teams kind of decide to do. I think NBA currently is setting up with their Gizmo to go ahead and smoke out the Mandelbrick and potentially use their Tempest ult to go ahead and pick up the Mandelbrick.
Well, interesting decision coming through with those early Tempests here, but it is going to be NBA trying their hand at the quick steal. Unfortunately, getting denied nearly instantly, as Genius is pretty much in control here, trying to lock it down. So a very strong offensive position coming through from them. Let's see, can they follow through and potentially get their hands on it? Meanwhile, it is going to get pretty hot and spready right here up in the Mandelbrick spawn, as so many more teams are now starting to move on through. Again, we do see a few of those Gizmo plays coming out of here, but Jin's now just full sending. Unfortunately, Tempest is going to buy him a little bit more time.
Man, Chin's actually opted to not go ahead and pick up the mana brick, which is usually what we see our Tempests all try to go ahead and do there. Went for the kill and almost got it, a sliver of HP on the side of NBA there. But now that our Tempest alts are kind of down for the two teams that seem to be interested in fighting over this potential mana break, we're going to be at a pretty hard-hitting standstill now. As we see NBO all the way on the south side of the map in the Brakkesh Tower. We have kind of seen this become pretty popular as of late. And we're kind of seeing that come to fruition right there with the gold bar being found in that tower that I was just talking about. Kind of looting the tower before anybody even picks up the mana brick is really smart. Because you're just like, listen, if you leave tower and you go kind of join all of this waiting game, you're not really getting anything done. So you might as well just go ahead and try to pick up some of the loot in the tower building. Whilst all of these other teams, you know, they're going to be just a little bit distracted staring at some of the walls. So Team Fnatic and Team NBO right now have made this early game pretty worth it.
I think the big question is, though, even though they might have been able to make it worth it so far, is are they going to be able to extract with it, right? Can they take those profits out with it? That is going to be the big decider, because as we know, this is our second to last eco run before we are going to be heading into that full on send over in the lovely Space City. But for now, it is still a bit of a waiting game, looking to see who is going to be the first one to grab that Mandelbrick, as our first airdrop is also going to be making its way in. And again, Fnatic, they are just out here to loot everything they can find as they step on forward. And a lot of reds now starting to come in across the board, right? Fnatic and #1 both finding those reds.
Skydee trying to go ahead and jump onto the Mandelbrick here. No way, he actually successfully jumps onto it right there. I thought there was enough utility from the side of Team Genius to go ahead and deny that one. A great pickup here for Skydee, kind of make something happen. And we're kind of taking a look at the early path here that these guys are going to be taking. They're for sure going to go over to that reservoir area that's just off to the east side of the tower building. This could potentially be a good opportunity for the team of #1 to join the action early on, since the action's pretty much coming to them anyway.
It's all about positioning and basing and how they are going to look to push through this. Again, there's a lot of those Morse ults now being utilized here, gathering quite a bit of decent information for the teams. But again, it's still down to who's going to be able to get that first decode underway, right? Currently, as we can see, of course, it is going to be #1 looking to find a good position to start this play. But where are they going to go? Are they going to stick to the hotel itself? Are they maybe going to look to move somewhere else? Because yesterday we saw it all the way down in that reservoir area. And you said it was your favorite point, or your favorite place for those extractions to happen. So let's see how this one is going to pan out.
See, actually FPOD, unfortunately, having one of their members knock right here, and I would imagine this is going to be Team Genius that actually found that initial knock right now. But take a look at this, an isolated member on the side of FPOV. Obsess, unfortunately, his other two teammates are inside of the museum. They're trying to go ahead and help, and actually that res that was coming out from the side of Blake, it gets canceled by, I think, the disarm from Tempest. And now Blake is going to be a solo left to try to make something happen on this Morris. He drops some of the util, and luckily, by the skin of his teeth, makes it through that doorway and finds his way to a little bit of cover. But with Team Genius hot on his heels, I feel like it's just a matter of time. And yeah, sure enough, the 3-man roster is storming down the staircase. The flashlight is going to be popped there from Blake, but it's not going to be enough. And once again, Team Genius are finding themselves 3 kills early.
Yep. well, they are definitely looking to capitalizing, pick up that same kind of momentum that we saw from them just in the previous round. But now with the final few teams left, right? Only 5 of them remaining. It's all going to be down to how they are looking to play through here. And I mean, Mandelbrick Addicts still looking to get to a decent decode station. I'm not quite sure where they're trying to go and if they are even going to try and get that decoding started, because as we know, right, in the next 2 minutes and a bit of change, if nothing happens with the Mandelbrick, it goes right back to where it spawned.
Yeah, NBA are taking a little bit of a weird approach as we do go ahead and take a look at the map POV here. Looks like they're actually interested in going for this Ruins Mandelbrick decoding station, but I think that they have now caught whim. The Fnatic are pretty much just posted up on it. So yeah, if NBA want to make anything happen in terms of putting this Mandelbrick into a decoding station, they're going to have to probably go over to that reservoir area, which is where we thought they were initially going. And this is where Chins went ahead and picked up that second member of FPOV onto Obsess. And Hello here is going to go ahead and get the kill credit and the wipeout. A little bit of frustration being shown there from the side of Blake.
I think it's rightly so. There's quite a bit of tension building on the teams here. And I mean, Fnatic trying to do whatever they can, or the FPOV trying to do whatever they can there. Now, though, it is going to be NBA looking to see if they can actually get to the decoding station. They have a minute to make a decision here. It just seemed like they were heading in the direction there of Fnatic, but again, it seems like they've now looked to change their mind. They could go into Museum, they could go into the Asara camp, or they could go into that reservoir area. But first, they have to deal with this attack helicopter that is being an absolute nuisance just above them.
Yeah, 40 seconds remaining before this Mandelbrick is going to go ahead and be reset, which I think would be the first time I kind of ever saw that happen. And yeah, on the back foot of this helicopter, just raining in all of this damage and all of this pressure. Skydee is trying to go ahead and get a little bit of a grasp of what is going on around him. Audio is not going to be a factor of this one, as some of the members of NBA here are trying to go ahead and relinquish all of the pressure from this helicopter specifically. They did go ahead and successfully take out one singular pilot, but the angle is what's going to make this difficult, right? When the helicopter is directly above you, you just straight up don't even have a sight line onto the helicopter pilot. And take a look at this. The timer has now officially hit 0. That Mandelbrick has been reset back to its initial spawn point. And taking a look at the map here, I think Team Genius are going to be waiting in the wings, and sure enough, they are. They're going to take this thing directly into the museum, and they are going to be the ones that are going to be having early access to this decoding station, which, by the way, taking a look at their compeers, Shepherd, Tempest, Toxic, they have so much utility to defend this.
Yeah, so this is going to be an interesting one indeed, as it is going to be Genius starting that decoding process. I'm pretty sure that, well, some teams are probably kicking themselves at this point in time. But regardless of that, right, we do have that second airdrop also available. So we could see teams either trying to push up onto the decoding station or rotating up towards that more northern position up in the Brakkesh market to get an additional bit of bank going in. But for the Mandelbrick Addicts, things are looking pretty tough here, as AGT is going to be pushing right up onto them. Already one player down, the second down coming through now, and this could mean it all for the side of, well, AGARTHA. If they can't survive here, if they can push in and get the hits, but down goes Skydee. It is a very unfortunate play now for the Mandelbrick Addicts.
Yeah, nothing really went their way here on Brakkesh. They did go ahead and get that initial pickup, but they just couldn't find something to do after that. But take a look at this now. AGT quickly after the wipe. NBO all the way from the tower going to be joining the fray here. But take a look at this. A nasty angle from the side of Genius, who are inside of the museum. Fnatic, the Jam, is going to be on the receiving end of that one. Fortunately for the side of Fnatic, I don't think the other team that would have the opportunity to aggress this is actually well aware of this idea. But oh my gosh, I'm taking a look at the map. Team Genius have left the decoding station. They might push Fnatic right now on the back foot of them getting a knock. And oh my gosh, they are. It's going to be Chins. He's going to be jumping out. He's going to be finding one of the first knocks. He's going to do some extra damage onto Bane right there. But outside of just getting the knock onto Raid Bull, Fnatic are going to be fine if they can go ahead and reset. That was a great usage from the Temp Assault on the side of Team Genius. Remember, all they have to do is defend the Mandelbrick, but sometimes the best defense is offense, and that's going to be the game plan right now for Team Genius.
Well, a very interesting strategy coming through there from them, but of course, it kind of makes sense at the end of the day, right? Because we just have two teams here that could be looking to contest that Mandelbrick decode. It is number one and Fnatic, and it does seem like both these teams are going to be fighting each other here as quickly they try to just increase the extra little bit of loot that they have, looking to snag anything they can get their hands on. But I think especially looking at Genius, this is kind of their ticket, right? They've got not a lot of time left on the clock, but still a decent amount to work through here as we are about to hit that 90-second point. And at this point, anything can change, right? Number one can decide to go absolutely crazy, just rushing forward and guns blazing. First, they have to survive the defense coming through from Kilo, though.
Yeah, Kilo is just kind of playing that angle repeatedly for the side of Team Genius here. It's found so much value. Of course, number one, the team, they're going to be fine, right? They can get that res, but it's just all about the delay, all about the time it's actually going to take to get that res, because its time right now is on the side of Team Genius. You can see right now just a minute remaining before that decode is able to come in. This one might play out right now, by the way. If any of our other teams, Fnatic or NBO, are able to go ahead and steal this, we're kind of entering that territory right now where they might not even have enough time to go ahead and steal the Mandelbrick and successfully decode it. So kind of keep your eye on that. But 40 seconds before one of these two teams has to do something to go ahead and take Team Genius out. And potentially the fourth man for Team Genius here could potentially be that helicopter. Remember, these other two teams are kind of on the outside of Museum. If that helicopter is able to go ahead and do some damage to them, that's going to help out Team Genius. 20 seconds remaining.
Well, it is go time as number one are going to be starting to push up as well. Just about 10 seconds left on the clock here. It is going to be Kilo now, just moving right onto the decoding station himself. They do find Enter. Dun's now having to step up here, looking to see if he can continue with the defense, but it's down to Olo, and oh, there we go. It is going to be Geniuses getting the extract right before they get eliminated.
Great job from Team Genius right there. They had fended off two separate attacks. Fnatic was trying to make something happen from the lift entrance. Number one kind of entered in from that south side, but take a look at this. There's still some fights to be had on the map of Brakkesh here. 3 minutes remaining and a singular 3v3 to kind of end it all. Hopefully, if this fight kind of does go down for one of our teams, they're able to kind of make it happen, end the fight early, so that way they can kind of dip off to one of the airdrops, potentially take out that helicopter to go ahead and help them in some of the following rounds. But I don't know if this fight is going to end fast enough for either one of these teams to go ahead and loot up after they go ahead and win the fight.
Yeah, especially now with just 2 minutes and about 15 seconds left on the clock. It is looking less probable at this point, but it does seem like Fnatic are going to be prioritizing just getting away from that central area, right? Just trying to rotate away from Museum. Meanwhile, it is going to be number one getting hit with a few of those incendiaries. As you can see, the flames now just all over the place, and I think respectively for either squad here, extraction is probably going to be the thing that makes the most sense.
Yeah, take a look at this. Fnatic are obviously making a sprint for the backpack extract. But NBO are obviously going to be well aware of that possibility. So they're trying to go ahead and make something happen. Trying to cut them off. But I think Fnatic have already kind of made it there. So I don't think NBO are going to be able to go ahead and prevent this one, but it's just going to be all about Fnatic putting all of that loot onto one of their members. What I would like to actually see here is them potentially delay this extract. But they're going to go ahead and opt to send the jam out immediately, so they're going to be pretty happy with that. And I actually got a quick glimpse at his inventory. I took a look at the bottom of our screen, what his weapons were looking like. I think he had an arm. I think amongst all of the chaos, we must have missed that somebody picked up one of those airdrops, picked up that arm, and I think they actually got out with it.
Yep, Fnatic was the only team to find that first airdrop, right? We still have the other airdrop that is sitting there in Brakkesh Market Nobody has laid a hand on it just yet, but so far, a good spray coming through here from Fnatic as Rightful and Bane are going to look to just pick up a few more kills if they can, and it's a very even spread here, a 2v2 showdown. And see who's going to be the one to walk away with those final points in the bag. Of course, as we know, each kill is worth 800k here as well, so it all matters come the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. Trying to find something happen for the side of Mateus, who was the last remaining member of NBO. Unfortunately for them, they have actually been wiped. Remember, that was actually a 2v3 for Fnatic after they got one of their members out. So they got to be feeling pretty good about the way that Brakkesh just ended. But you want to talk about a team that's got to be feeling pretty good. A quick reminder, Team Genius were able to go ahead and get away with a Mandelbrick here on game number 2. After some crazy stuff, after I think, which must have been the first time I have ever seen a team have that Mandelbrick reset, right? They didn't do anything with it for 5 minutes, so it resets back to that initial spawn point, and Genius were just waiting in the wings, which is why they're going to be the best team here on Brakkesh. They only had 3 kills, which was on the back foot, kind of one of those early wipes that we kind of saw as well, but they did so much damage, 1300 damage, almost 1400, because we saw how many times they were able to get knocks on some of these teams. Of course, they didn't get the actual kills, they didn't end up finishing some of those bodies, but it was just all about delaying for that defense. And let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown here for how Brakkesh went.
Yeah, I mean, very exciting day indeed coming through for the side here of Fnatic. AGARTHA and Genius, though, also still picking up 3 kills each. But number 1, they are going to be walking away with 5. And as we know, 5 kills, that's worth a decent chunk of change. That is going to be 4 million worth coming their way. But speaking of which, though, it is going to be Mateus here for number 1, being the number 1 killer in this last round, picking up the 3, just narrowly ahead of what we saw being brought to the table from Bane. But a decent spread, right? 3 different groups being up here with regards to the top damage dealers. We got Genius, we've got Fnatic, and of course number 1 as well. And that kind of continues as we hop over into the assists.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just across the board here, it didn't really look like a lot of kills were kind of going the way of any one of our particular teams. So the assists were kind of far and few between there, but ending the match here, the top asset earner was going to be Fnatic, the jam there. Surely that was obviously the one that kind of made it out through that backpack extract, the only player on the entirety of the map to actually make it out. But our MVP here is actually going to be Fnatic Bane. He himself went ahead and picked up 3 kills, had 610 damage, 1.4 mil in assets as well to kind of help Fnatic out going into Tide Prison, which, by the way, is going to be a great opportunity for our teams to kind of reset after they kind of saw how Brakkesh was able to play out.
Yeah, I think it is going to be quite exciting once we step into that round number 3 with Tide Prison coming through. Our final airdrop round is about to hit pretty soon. But as we know, one team walked away with the very first Mandelbrick, and this is the first time in EMEA Day 1 and 2 that we did see a team actually secure a quick early extract in round number 2. So it's all going to boil down on how these teams are going to be looking to change up the day moving through the remaining rounds. And of course, only one way for us to get there, right? We're going to have to hop into a quick break. We'll see you on the other side.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute swing! This... And you just gotta know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Elm's gonna be hopping out for that.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Pro Tips. Operations mode in Delta Force isn't just about clicking heads, it's a high stakes chess match where timing your aggression can win you the whole tournament. Today we're diving into the absolute madness of Space City from the EMEA qualifiers, and back on the couch with me is our pro expert Matthias. You ready to look in some pure carnage?
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
So let's roll the clip. This is our final frantic minute of the decoding process where multiple match point teams collapse onto one single spot. So let's talk about the glass room design. It's notorious for the bulletproof glass around all the sides. It gives you scanning of all the different entry points into that room, makes it incredibly tight. From a tactical standpoint, why did MBO find so much success here as the last team to enter that fight?
Yeah, so I would definitely say it's because of the position we had in the core of test range. And there was no teams threatening our position here from above or from the sides, so we had like very much free space to have here.
So how about operators set up in these kind of situations? LFS there who were defending in that situation, they had Uluru, Shep and D-Wolf. Is that how you would like to be set up in there, or would you like to have a different set of operators, or maybe what's the dream utility setup defending that glass room?
Well, I would say that their comp it's decent. They have Uluru, which allows you to block the crack you have on the test range the window, the small window, so no utilities can be passed through. But I would definitely like to have a Tempest for the disarm on this position, and maybe a Luna for max utility, but I think Uluru is excellent on this decoding spot.
Now, the third party is obviously so strong in these decode fights, but how do you as a team judge when you want to push in? Are you happy sometimes to let another team take the Mandelbrick if it's not match point, or do you always want to try and challenge that?
Well, you always want to like try, but in this scenario, we knew that the team decoding it was a match point team. So, and we also knew that DE were on the lobby side of things, so we had to be very careful here in terms of the match, because if we slip up, we make a mistake, we're gonna allow a match point team to close out the match. So
patience truly pays off on Space City there. Outstanding analysis. Make sure to watch your positioning and time your third parties perfectly, operators. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Pro Tips.
I'll cover you! I'll get you out of here. The enemy got the Mandelbrick. Find it. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
So much damage, and there it is.
Welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series. Day number 2 is coming in pretty hot so far. We're getting ready to hop straight into round number 3. But first things first, of course, we're going to have to take a look at who's sitting at the top of the board at the end of round number 2. And of course, it's none other than the side of Genius, walking away with 15 glorious squad points. And of course, that Mandelbrick decode. But this is where things get exciting, right? Because we are now going to be packing quite a bit of heat into our final eco round.
Oh yeah, 100%. We kind of saw this leaderboard as well after Zero Dam. We had, was it 4 teams on 1 or less kills, and now you can kind of see it's been evenly distributed amongst that leaderboard. So I feel like Zero Dam, all of our teams are kind of warming up, getting used to, you know, the conditions of the game and how it was going to be going down. Game 2, everybody kind of came to play. They were all kind of in the mix, fighting for the Mandelbrick, fighting each other. Of course, at the end of everything, Genius came out on top, and I think the thing for me that looks the best for Team Genius right now is that they are actually the team that has the most amount of kill points. They have been the ones kind of playing the best throughout this competition so far. On the back for them, obviously getting that Mandelbrick, they also have the most amount of squad points. So in general, team is just playing very, very well. But so are MBA right now and team number 1 and Fnatic for that, right? They're not too many points behind the side of Team Genius, but again, I would have loved to have seen Team NBA kind of make something happen on Brakkesh with that Mandelbrick. They were the first team to kind of initially pick it up. They felt like they just got a little bit of stuck. They feel like they couldn't make it over to a decoding station, which is all right because, again, we'll return to those Mandelbrick rounds in game number 4. But for now, we're going over to the Tide Prison. I feel like it's going to play completely differently than how we just saw everything kind of pan out on Brakkesh. DK kind of asked me, he was like, Vivid, like, how do you think Tide Prison is going to go? And I was like, well, listen, if we saw Zero Dam play very, very passive and kind of wait until there was like 5 minutes remaining on that map for any action, any fights to kind of really go down, Tide Prison is the map that usually plays the slowest. So the fact that we already saw Zero Dam go pretty slow, I feel like groups C and D, these guys in the lobby, we might see Tide Prison play extremely slow. I wouldn't be surprised if, again, we see another slow map here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we got to be looking out for to see exactly what the decisions are going to be through from our squads. And I mean, ideally, right, you want to try and find as much as you can stepping onto Tide Prison. This is the last eco round, the last time to make up as much bank as you can find here. So you got to play a little bit of that cat and mouse game to see if you are going to be the team to get up to the top. But of course, first things first, though, we're going to have to take a look and see what the operator loadout is going to be coming in onto this, right? Because usually this is where you like to play a little bit of that Nox, a little bit of the hack claw as well, right? That it really helps you in that kind of close quarters positions that you are going to be finding yourself here.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see the breakdown here for some of the operators. Usually Nox combined with Hacklaw, usually combined with like Gizmo a lot of the times. Sometimes we do see double Nox. I am actually getting a little bit of a sneak peek over here. Our players have jumped up into Tide Prison. We're going to be jumping in ourselves here in just a moment. But there is one thing that is actually standing out to me right now, DK, on this Tide Prison. The way it's kind of panned out in terms of the operator picks. I'm just going to go ahead and spoil it before we even see it here on screen. Team NBA, their comp looks very, very weird for a Tide Prison map. They've got a Raptor and double Alluru.
Yeah, I agree with you. That looks pretty weird, right? I mean, maybe there's a meta that they know of that we've not seen just yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what they can make with that. In the meantime, of course, looking over onto the side of the Fnatics here, they also have a double operator setup, but that is going to be that double Nox coming through for them, and they're not the only squad. We do see the players there. FPOV also going for double Nox.
Yeah, cool to see. By the way, Team Genius, again, our team in first place, they have already secured a Mandelbrick. They found a super computing unit, supercomputer there. That's why their profits are all the way up to 2 mil already. We can see Blake is kind of continuing on his streak of finding reds throughout this competition as he went ahead and picked up a Gazelle. Chins is going to be finding a Rolex. We'll have to see if Enter can kind of follow suit here. He's going to be looting a safe right there, and not as lucky as some of our other members. Let's go ahead and take a look at the breakdown here for some of the armors. Hannah actually opting to bring in another one of those golden armors.
Interesting play indeed coming through from them, but you can see the rest of the loadout is still pretty much on the purples, right? Purple ammo, purple armor. So they are going to be saving a lot of the utility coming into that round number 4. So I'm expecting to see a lot more gold ammo, especially coming through once we hit round number 4. But for the time being, Hannah again coming through with a little bit of that insane pickup, again hitting the 2 mil reds.
Yeah, this is crazy right now. I mean, Team Genius, again, they were the team that I mentioned. They found the supercomputer. That's a 3x3. One of the members of Team Genius, they're going to be filling up their 3x3 with that supercomputer. They've also now found a carbon fiber, another 2 mil, that is going to be completely safe. Is that a cloud array? Oh my goodness, I don't think I've ever seen one of those found in competition. That is a crazy find, a pretty rare red for the side of Obsessed. Unfortunately, it's not going to be worth 2 mil like some of the other reds we have seen been found so far, but that ground spawn, the cloud array server there, is very unique. I didn't even know that was a ground spawn. I've run through that area, that room so often, and I have never looked on that shelf. So I'm learning a couple things here today.
Yeah, I mean, when you know, right? And now we know where it could be spawning. So curious to see if you could find one of those in Bubs. But in the meantime, it is going to be Cook now just staring at a bit of a crown here, pointing it out to the teammates. We do see a few of those gold bars being picked up, and it does seem like number 1 is on it, and another one coming in. Oh my goodness.
Guys, that is our 3rd carbon fiber of the day so far. We saw Blake pick one up on Zero Dam earlier on. Now we've seen a couple picked up here on Tide Prison as well. Listen, sometimes we have seen in the past, Tide Prison has gone this way, where all of the teams kind of opt to go ahead and loot. And yeah, we've seen reds found before, but this has been kind of crazy. There are reds just raining from the sky right now on this Tide Prison specifically. All of our teams are kind of getting into the mix. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. We kind of see AGT and NBA towards the bottom of the profit leaderboard. Unfortunately for them, but for the other 4 teams, man, they are finding so many.
Yeah, they're having no difficulty whatsoever. But of course, the big question is, can they fit all of those in their bags, right? Get those into their safe boxes and successfully leave with them. In the meantime, it's going to be AGT and Fnatic just creeping up on each other, getting ready for a bit of a showdown. And unfortunately for Fnatic, right, this could be the point where they could be losing a little bit of those profits if they've not been able to secure them up just yet. You see the trigger discipline coming through here from Yaku as well. Beautiful play on towards Raid Bull. Does back quite a bit of a punch. Now it's going to be Bane getting hit. As it's going to be a full send coming through now from the AGT side.
Yeah, great job from Yaku right there. He was on an incredible flank of the back foot of popping that Noxel a little bit earlier on. He landed some of the initial shots. A sliver of HP was kind of left right there, but the disc from him is going to go ahead and do finishing work. For Fnatic, though, they're left with a duo. You can see DeJam is kind of stuck in this back room. AGT have to kind of keep him here if they want to go ahead and secure some of these kills. Off screen, though, NBA are actually going up against Genius. That's going to be Hannah getting knocked over there. We're going to go ahead and tune into this fight and see what's kind of happening. NBA, again, are going to be applying this pressure here, trying to make something happen in their own 3v2.
Well, we can see both fights now on screen. Bottom right is where we've got that AGT engagement, and Genius now also getting ready for a bit of an angle here. As you can see, Kilo getting set up, has popped the ult here for the Hacklaw, looking, and he knows exactly which direction there could be a team situated. NBA, though, are going to be looking to change things up a little bit, trying to wingle and wangle their way through, trying to get a little bit more of an advantageous angle, but so far Kilo is pretty much just locking down that bridge, so it's not going to be an easy push for AGT to get through here.
Yeah, they might be pretty content with just picking up Raid Bull's body here, looting it, and trying to see if they can kind of make anything happen on the back foot of that. And as we can see, our teams did a great job of looting pretty much the entirety of the map, as the reds on the right side of the screen have kind of stopped flowing in now. And the attention is going to be turned to whether or not these teams can successfully find some fights. And as I actually mentioned, the reds stopped flowing in. We have the potential here. Chuba is going to be finding himself an unlooted save. No way we're going to miss it. I've been baited. I thought we were going to see all the loot. The dopamine has disappeared, DK. Dang it. But we do know, you know, no reds popping up on the right side there, so I don't think he was lucky anyway.
That there is a perfect example of a bait and switch, right? I mean, production trolling us a little bit over here, and I love it. But let's see what is going to be happening for NBA. Are they going to be able to get anything happening on this point? I mean, Genius still keeping a pretty tight angle, but now it's going to be FLOORPOV that is going to be looking to step up as well. As you can see, Bulldog quickly falling back, just trying to get out of reach of those utilities. Skyty still keeping the angle locked down, and FPOV, they are going to try and push on forward. And we've seen quite a bit of contentious angle coming through multiple times before, but can they get the engineer? I mean, this is such a tough corridor to push up through.
Yeah, I really want to pay attention to how this actually pans out for a team like NBA. Again, this comp is so weird. A Raptor and double Alluro. And the reason why it's so weird is because, again, Alluro is usually used on maps like Brakkesh or Space City because, again, there's just so much utility that Alluro can use to help, whether it be steal or help defend Mandelbricks. So kind of using Alluro, it'll be interesting to kind of see what their comps are going to be looking like in the future. But so far, I mean, the Molotovs have kind of done great work for them in terms of the fights. And by the way here, this angle, again, I'm learning so much. I'm learning about the ground spawns and Uvelier here. That little bit of a gap. Didn't even know this existed. I'll be here in the future for sure.
Well, this is how you get to find a few interesting positions coming through, looking at what these teams are doing. But I mean, at some point, something needs to have our first airdrop coming in as well. Curious to see. Well, that's of course our first and only airdrop, right? To get your hands on the other airdrop, you have to run through the mission to get to the end of that, and of course escort the warden throughout the prison here. But now NBA, they feel that something is coming. They can hear the footsteps there from Genius, just quickly retreating. But just such a narrow slit here for Uveli to try and hit those shots.
Yeah, remember, I mean, Team Genius are probably not going to go ahead and progress through this corridor just simply based on the fact that they're a duo right now. They're not really going to be interested in trying to make plays themselves. They're going to wait until a lot of this is kind of settled. And also, as a reminder, this has kind of already been worth it for a team like Team Genius. They have 2 3x3s, reds, that have been worth 2 mil each. They have 2 of them. So, again, you can see their profits are up to 4.5 mil. Like, 4 mil of that is completely safe, no matter what happens on Tide Prison here. So, they've done a great job of finding some good loot already. Obviously, they don't want to just kind of run it down. They want to continue to kind of make something happen, potentially find some kills. But playing passive is probably going to be the way that they're going to be forced to play this if they want to go ahead and do that, as they're going to be just the duo. For the likes of Fnatic, it's the same story. They are unfortunately a duo right now. They're trying to go ahead and make a run for potentially the switch room over here, but they're making a lot of noise on the back foot of the Warden. I think the Warden is actually chasing them down. They don't want to take the Warden out himself. They want to kind of leave him alive, so they were trying not to go ahead and shoot him. I was going to say, if they're sitting in that switch room, they were not safe, so they go ahead and opt to take the switch or the zip line down. NBA, they might make something happen here. Yeah, they're going to push. This is not good for Team Genius.
Yeah, it's going to be a very tight position to try and get out of here, but we also do see the players there from FPOV still starting to mobilize, but now it's going to be that full set. NBA, SkyZero getting quickly downed as Kilo is just so quick on the trigger here. And this is going to be an absolutely essential position coming through for the side of Genius, right? If they can just sustain the position, this could buy them a bit of time. But unfortunately, with the incendiaries coming out, it is not looking very hopeful now.
You know what it was? It was actually the flank from FPOV. The pressure was kind of in from a different angle. So he tried to make something happen on the hack wall, and the only way he kind of saw fit was to kind of jump down to the staircase. But now for the side of FPOV, they have a lot of opportunity here. They're They're going to be seeing a weak NBA in front of them, who's going to be just a duo, and then below them is going to be Chins as a solo. So they have the big numbers advantage right now. But can they actually make anything happen? They would love to actually have those Nox discs available right now, because if they were able to throw them into that room, they would assuredly get so much value. And the fact that they have double Nox means that they can combine both of the discs at the same exact time. By the way, while kind of this little bit of a standstill is happening now, AGT, we're going head-to-head with the likes of number 1. They actually already picked up 2 of the members, and it's just going to be 1 member left remaining. It's going to be Cook, but he is going to be sent out of the kitchen himself, sent back to the lobby. And amongst all the chaos, MBO were actually our first team fully wiped off the map. But for the side of FBO, they're trying to make something happen onto the duo of MBA right now. And take a look at all the utility kind of raining in. Bulldo is trying to lay down behind a little bit of cover, trying to kind of make something happen. Both of the members here, the Alluru and this Raptor, are extremely low. And with the flank coming in from one of the members of FPOV, that's going to be Yersei on the backside of things. The pinch is going to come in. But some shots now. Another third party. It's Fnatic.
I mean, a lot of chain fighting coming through here. But you see FPOV getting taken on down. And now it's going to be a rush here, as they still have 2 players up and able to contest. But NBA just playing some pretty bold moves here. I mean, using that Alluru in CQB is pretty dang crazy. But I think the reason why they chose that setup coming into this round, and now it is going to be quite a bit of a pressure play. FPO are going to be trying to push up. NBA right there alongside them, trying to breach in the door. They can't see a single thing. Quick bit of blinding action coming in, and the send is there. Unfortunately, Floor FPO not getting out of that one in one piece, but NBA are going to be locking it in, and now it's going to come the hard part, getting the full squad back on their feet.
I thought NBA had no chance of surviving that once that disc landed in the room. Does so much damage, but a little bit of an overextension, potentially. A little bit too aggressive, maybe, from the side of FPOV. They kind of just full send it, and the shots are actually hit from Uvelier. And now Chins, remember, this was kind of that initial fight. He was the initial solo amongst all of this chaos. He has been alive in the bottom of it. But here are the shots that are going to be landed right here from Uvelier. He's got the perfect weapon for an exact moment like that. 45 rounds in the magazine with these machine guns. If you go ahead and set it up perfectly, and with 2 members kind of jumping into the room, you're going to need all the bullets you can get. But Uvelier is trying to go ahead and continue on with the kills he's been picking up. I think he found out that Chins was right below him. He was trying to make something happen, but Chins is going to jump down into the water and swim away to safety. This has been a great game for NBA so far. I think they have 4 kills total. As we kind of jump in between some of our teams, looks like Fnatic, they're still trying to make something happen. They only have 1 kill, so they're definitely going to be interested in making this just a little bit more worth it. And take a look at the bottom right. We have our extract going off very, very soon. That's going to be the full squad of AGT making it out with 6 mil in total profits. Take a look at that leaderboard on the left side. It's going to be a great game for them.
Yeah, a pretty good run indeed. I mean, that's exactly what you want to try and do on a map like this, right? Especially with the last Eagle run coming through, prepping for a little bit of that Space City rundown. But of course, there's still a few points up for grabs here. As you can see, Fnatic, they still have an opportunity to try and get those additional kills secured. There's still 3 players left for them to try and find. I'm not quite sure they're going to find Chins, though, because yeah, Chins is all the way up on towards the north, and we have NBA and Fnatic right over here in towards the southwestern side. And now it is going to be altercation going full throttle as Bulldo is going to be met with quite a bit of a response here.
Yeah, the Jam has to make something happen. Remember, there's only 2 minutes remaining, and pretty much the only way to find any more value out of this one is just pick up the kills. Utility is going to Yan. Uvelier, unfortunately, kind of tucked away into the corner. Tries to go ahead and make a desperation play on the back for the Alluru rocket. It's going to do a little bit of damage, but not enough. I feel like if NBA Bulldo here would have initially pushed and just kind of went for the 1v2, that would have been his best chance. Because the members of Fnatic were kind of low. But now they're back to full HP. Bane is trying to make something happen here on the flank, but the angle is just too good. He plays it to perfection. Peeks up only when necessary. So that kill was going to come through for the side of Fnatic. And now Chins. Again, remember, the initial solo amongst all of the chaos makes the swim all the way over to the backpack extract. And I think Bane, by the way, was just right there thinking about running over to the backpack extract. Of course, he had to run all the way across the map. And you kind of saw it disappear on the map. So he opted to go ahead and return to all of the loot. See if he can go ahead and stuff this 3x3 safe box. Because, of course, the last two remaining members on the map and the last two remaining members of Fnatic are not going to be able to make it out of Tide Prison. But again, they could still make it out with whatever is in their 3x3 safe box, which is going to be all about what they can kind of keep safe even after they fail the extract.
Yeah, that's going to be the main strategy, right? Just cram as much as you can into that 3x3. And unfortunately, the stack only goes so high. We do see quite a few of those dog tags coming through. As we know, there's a decent chunk of value on those dog tags as well. So you got to make do with what you can find. It doesn't seem like there is going to be any shortage of loot around them, right? So many boxes that we've had already kind of just popping up all over the place. And now it's all just down to prioritizing what is of the most value in the last few seconds, as we've got only 10 left on the clock.
And not a lot of time left. Again, that's why I was kind of mentioning it. It's just going to be those kills that we're going to be finding value in the last following moments right there. It looks like the 3x3 safe boxes are all filled up, and the timer has hit 0. So Tide Prison is done and dusted. No mana bricks to be picked up for some of our teams, but a plethora of reds. We saw so many carbon fibers, supercomputer units. We saw cloud array servers, gold bars. Everything was kind of in the mix there for a bunch of our teams, and also the kills being one of the most important things. I'll be excited to kind of take a look at the leaderboard and see how this one kind of pans out. I feel like AGT, they got to be feeling very, very good about that one. Again, it's very, very rare in these competitions, these 7-round matches, that we even see a single time a full 3-man roster kind of make it out. The AGT, they make it happen. They got to be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, AGARTHA definitely being our best team right here. The only one, as you've mentioned, to get that extraction secured. And doing so with 4 operator kills and 5.9 million in the bag. Absolutely phenomenal play from them here. 8 damage as a result of all the fighting that we've seen coming through from them. But yeah, I mean, now we have my question rather answered as to how it is going to turn out over here onto Tide Prison, and a very sweaty altercation for a lot of our teams, but only one team can be situated right here on the screen. But now the big question comes in how it all pans out for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, let's take a look at the breakdown here. Again, AGARTHA, I mentioned it, 3-man roster making it out. 6 million total right there. It's got to be one of the biggest extractions that we have seen throughout the course of the day. They also went ahead and picked up 4 kills, so they are going to be jumping up the leaderboard. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the individual categories here. First and foremost, our top killers on Tide Prison here. Uvelier, again, he put on an absolute clinic with that machine gun in hand. We also see Nast and Yaku right there from the side of AGT. Remember, they had 4 kills total, so it was just those 2 members from their team that was able to go ahead and pick up some of those kills. But our damage dealers as well, no surprise here to see Uvelier towards the top. He was constantly in the mix, constantly in the fights, and he was also our top slayer here on Tide Prison. But the fact that he almost doubled the amount of damage of second place right there is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think there's a good chance for Uvelier to be our MVP, potentially, maybe, right? Because we see that good consistency coming through from them. Of course, Jam is going to be the one to come through with the highest assist, sitting on a comfortable 2. But the top asset owners is going to be none other than Yaku coming through with a 2.2 mil play there, and Hannah again with a 2.1 mil. So, I mean, we've seen a lot of consistency from Genius, right? Just finding quite a bit of value out in these games. But instead, it is going to be Yaku that is going to be our MVP. 2 operator kills, a decent chunk of damage, and of course 2.2 million assets gained in this past round.
Yeah, I think you were kind of expecting this one to be denoted by some of the kills, but I think the assets gain there was going to be a big boon for Yaku, being one of our only members to actually make it out of Tide Prison. But that's going to be it with some of these economy rounds. We're going to be jumping into the Mandelbricks exclusively as we go ahead and prepare for game number 4. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and of course, be sure to hit on all the socials for Delta Force itself. You did see the link pop up as well. If you go in there, there's this very exciting esports tab that is added in as well. And if you're watching on Twitch, you can see it in the panels down below. There's one labeled EMEA, the other one is labeled Americas. If you click on those, it will take you right into the Rise series. So be sure to check that out. And in the meantime, while you do that, we are going to be heading off into break. So we'll see you on the other side.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that, it's an absolute swing! This... And LG's gotta know that they're here, lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts! The last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks, the Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
Hello, I'm Matthias, and I'm the in-game leader and recon player for Team NBO. Well, I saw Delta Force on Steam, then I checked it out on Twitch and saw that it was free to play, so I gave it a try, and I fell in love with the game. Sure, so we have Cook, who's playing support for the team, then we have Enter, whose role is Assault, and they bring to the table exactly what we need to win these games. We have definitely become much more confident in our plays, and early on we had some hesitation, but now we trust the calls we make and execute everything with full confidence. Well, I would say it's our persistence and resilience. You will see that Team NBO never gives up and we fight until the very end. I would definitely say it's those moments where you make a clutch play and you win the round for your team, and also like when you manage to decode a Mandelbrick and get closer to match point. Of course, I'm gonna say that we're gonna finish first, and it's gonna be thanks to the preparations and the things that we've done so far to finish high up in the tournament.
I'll get you out of here.
Find them. Stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much. When you get barrel stuff, Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That knocked them off their feet.
There we go. Damage, and there it is.
The Delta Force Rise Series Day 2 for EMEA continues as we are getting ready to move over to the hot and spicy Space City that is going to be hitting the screens up next. But of course, Vivid, we got to take a look and see exactly where the teams find themselves after that glorious run over on Tide Prison.
Yeah, and this is pretty much what I was kind of expected, an equalization, if you will, of some of the squad points, especially as all of our teams kind of got into the mix. For the side of Team Genius, they were only really helped out by the fact that they picked up a couple of reds there, so they did go ahead and jump up a little bit in terms of the squad points, but everybody else is hot on their heels. Not to worry, though. Team Genius still have that Mandelbrick in tow, so they're going to be our leaders kind of no matter what the squad points look like. NBA have done a great job of kind of keeping themselves towards the top 2 spots of the leaderboard throughout the day. And AGARTHA right there, remember, they were kind of our best squad coming out of Tide Prison, so they had a great jump in terms of their position up there on the leaderboard. Only a 4-point spread right now between first place and fourth place in terms of those squad points. Again, I want to remind everybody at home, the most important thing on these leaderboards is those Mandelbricks. It's going to be the most valuable point of contention, so the fact that Team Genius have one, they're going to remain in first place if nobody else is able to pick up a Mandelbrick throughout some of these following rounds. But speaking about Mandelbricks, all of our other teams are going to have a plethora of opportunities to pick them up in the next 4 rounds. That is if, of course, we have to go all the way to round 7, to round 6. Heck, we might not even have to go to round number 5 if Team Genius are able to go ahead and secure the Mandelbrick here in game number 4 on Space City.
Yeah, that's going to be the main focal point here to see who can get the job done, right? Are we going to have a quick early round 4 finish? Not quite sure, but we'll see what the teams are going to be looking to bring on in. Speaking about what they're going to be bringing in, they need to spawn somewhere, as we did see Fnatic and, of course, the players from NBA getting those T1 spawns in the previous round. Now, moving into Space City, the T1 spawns are going to be going potentially to either AGARTHA, Genius, FLOORPOV, or number 1. So guess to see who's going to be coming in from which direction. Of course, looking at Westgate, that is where things could look to heat up quite early on.
Yeah, we'll have to see if some of our teams kind of use those early T1 spawns to kind of just make a dash towards that center of the map, towards that initial spawn point of the Mandelbrick. And the reason why I mentioned that, you're like, well, Vivid, obviously they're going to run for the Mandelbrick. No, not every single time. We actually saw Team Gotaga yesterday. They had a tier 1 spawn and they opted to go ahead and take a 3v3, and it was actually their early demise in that specific game where they went ahead and tried to pull that one off. So we'll have to see if any of our teams opt to go ahead and pull out something we have not seen before, or at least something that we do not expect. Jumping into Space City now. Remember, those early spawns are going to be very, very important. It looks like for the side of FPOV, they did not get one of those T1 spawns. In fact, they're going to be over towards the dormitory. Let's go ahead and take a look at Team AGARTHA. Remember, they just had a great Tide Prison, and now on the back foot of that, they actually get a T1 spawn themselves. And our team in the lead, Team Genius, also got a tier 1 spawn. DK, break down some of the gear.
Hey, we are seeing golds and golds and gold galore. NBA are coming in pretty hot with that, as well as AGT and, of course, the side of Fnatic. But so the interesting thing here is, of course, once they've used up those golds, that's it, right? They can't use them again. They only get that one opportunity to bring the golds in, but they can still capitalize on that gold ammo. So I'm curious to see just who is going to look to bring it home this time around. But I think especially for Genius, this is a really strong start, getting a quick entry through that west gate. Unfortunately, they're going to be sending it up towards the Mandelbrick. Instead, it could be the Mandelbrick addicts that could be trying their hand at getting that first brick pickup.
Yeah, without a Tempest on the side of NBA, this is pretty much their only hope. Remember, these guys picked up the initial brick when it came down to Brakkesh. Unfortunately for them, Nast here on this angle is going to look to deny this. And he can do it right on the back for his utility, but he also is going to have the lineup of his sight lines. Yvellier is not safe in this smoke at all, because as soon as you go ahead and try to pick up the mana break, you're in a fixed animation. But on the back foot of me saying that, he is actually allotted the time necessary to go ahead and pick that up. So again, I talked about it before, NBA. They picked up the mana brick initially on Brakkesh, our first mana brick round of the day. When they picked it up, they didn't actually make their way over to the decoding station at all. They couldn't find a rotation in, but this time the decoding station is just a little bit closer. So early on, NBA are going to be having early access to this decoding station, and now the pressure is on for everybody else in the lobby.
Yeah, somebody go out and ring that dinner bell, because it is time for the action to kick off. And speaking about which, though, NBA quickly getting a few hits coming in their direction, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't from the side of any particular operators or opposing teams just yet. Good setup here coming through from AGT as well. Unfortunately, not on the decoding station side. Instead, it is going to be up on towards that test range position, right? So it looks exactly like the opposing edge, right, over towards that centrifuge facility or the buoyancy lab. But so let's see how they are going to look to move through this. In the meantime, NVO, they are going to be trying to just scan out that far southern positioning. Not quite sure what their strategy is going to be here coming into this round. Are they going to look to maybe push up from that far southern angle, or maybe look to push a few teams holding on the edges?
And one of the most important things as we jump over the Space City is to keep a key note on our team in the lead, Team Genius. They're actually poised up over towards Hudson. And we saw this play yesterday where some of our teams like to kind of camp out at the Hudson building, and the reason for that is they're actually hoping that somebody on the bridge kind of just takes that zip line across, and as soon as they're on the zip line, they're pretty much just free kills for whoever's kind of waiting at that Hudson building. But the fact that they're kind of just hanging out in Hudson right now waiting for a play like that to come to them, they're not actually making any plays themselves towards the Mandelbrick specifically. As we take a look at that breakdown, you can see Team Genius, bottom left. The reason why they're important, they're in first place. They already have a Mandelbrick. They could end this one early if they secure another Mandelbrick, but they don't seem necessarily interested in going for that. In fact, none of our teams really seem interested in going for it. Obviously, the side of NBA, they currently have possession over it, but the only team that's really near them at all is AGARTHA, AGT.
Ooh, that is quite an interesting setup, though. I mean, we've seen this happen yesterday as well, right? Teams taking a very different approach coming into the Mandelbrick decoding, and like looking at who is going to try and potentially contest that. So maybe the teams have a completely different strategy in mind here. We know for a fact that they are not waiting for an airdrop to come down, because that is not a thing in this particular round. So FBO, I need to get something happening over here. Even Fnatic, right, also keeping a lot more of a distant approach here. So hopefully they are going to try and swing in onto that Mandelbrick pretty soon, as we are slowly but surely running out of time.
Yeah, NBA are starting to feel a little bit of the pressure from the center of the map. That's going to be AGARTHA trying to make something happen. If you take a look at the operators from the side of AGARTHA, they do have a Tempest, so that's going to be pretty much the forefront of the play here for them without a doubt. They're going to try to go ahead and pop the Tempest ult and make their way over to the decoding station. Before that happens, the Stinger is probably going to lay down some smoke, lay down some cover, so that way the Tempest can kind of just run through it. But with that being said, what's going to kind of happen around the map? And oh my gosh, we're actually seeing some trades all across the map here as the Jam from the side of Fnatic finds early access to the right there. He's going to be finding his sight lines over towards Obsess, who's going to be full killed, but not before Blake actually returns the favor. So the Jam and Blake are going to be down for the side of each one of them. But oh my gosh, an absolute flood from the side of Team Genius. These guys were hanging out with the Hudson building. They were playing so passive. All of a sudden, they just storm the decoding station. They take out the entirety of Team NBA, and now they have control over the Mandelbrick. What just happened in a blink of an eye? We have absolutely flopped everything around.
I mean, talk about the squads keeping us on our toes, right? I mean, they are doing everything that, well, I would probably not have assumed them to do. But good to see all different strategies and angles coming through on this. Of course, NBO are going to be the next team looking to push up as they're coming up the edge of ramp. They're looking for a bit of an angle. Meanwhile, the evil, just the geniuses, keeping a very tight position here as they are now trying to defend that Mandelbrick. But again, a super aggressive defensive that they are looking to lock in. Meanwhile, AGT, they were able to move up and just get onto the building up towards the north, position themselves up into that buoyancy lab. And I'm curious to see what number one is going to look to bring to this push here.
You remember, amongst all the chaos, there were some trades between the side of FPOV and Fnatic, and this is a very bold strategy from the side of Obsess right there. That one was a little bit crazy. Trying to run across those pipes when you know a team is on the other side is pretty much just opening yourself up to exactly that, just getting knocked. And he's going to be fully wiped off the map, by the way, because that was the second time he has been fully eliminated from the map. But the ramp here is pretty much the area that you want to be in if you're a team looking to go ahead and steal the mana brick. We just saw Team Genius make their approach from this ramp themselves. And they're not necessarily interested right now in defending it. They did not want to kind of risk their lives. Full sending it right there. So they kind of let number one use their Tempest to go ahead and steal that. And take a look at this. Kind of a little bit of a set play from the Alluro here from Hannah. Going to be throwing down that deployable cover, breaking half of it to have a little bit of a crevice to stare down that doorway, which you would imagine is going to play a big part of how everything is going to pan out here soon.
Well, everything and all the strategies are going to be revealed in a short few moments, but FPOV also are going to start to make their trip up to north, going for a very wide flank all the way around that far southern edge, and it seems like they are going to be aiming in the ramp, exactly where NBO currently find themselves situated. But again, I'm curious as to whether or not that decoding station is going to look to change hands yet again. AGT, they are going to be heading further up north, just getting out of the position, coming through with a wraparound, and there's several squads now lining themselves up to try and contest that decoding.
Yeah, this position right here for FPOV is pretty much worst case scenario for the side of number one. They're going to have to either wipe out the side of FPOV or potentially push forward, which they probably don't want to do because there's going to be a lot of teams kind of waiting for them in the wings. The only thing that kind of is working in the favor of number one right now is the fact that this FPOV approach, remember, it's only 2 members. So we just saw Obsess kind of go down on that employee passage pipeline. I think Enter just should have got a quick glimpse of Yursei right there, but maybe his red dot was actually in the way. Some utility from the side of NBO starts to come out towards the bottom of this ramp. So yeah, I think the information kind of was found. But now for Fnatic, they're trying to make something happen at the bottom of this staircase. The Team Genius are going to be interested in kind of preventing this. We're at a standstill on multiple sides of this Mandelbrick, and I think it's kind of started to look good for the side of NBO because they have a great position right now. When there's 30 seconds remaining, I think Team Genius are going to full send it out this doorway and potentially run straight for the Mandelbrick.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to do that if they want to stay in this fight here, as the decode is now down to the last few seconds, but a quick steal going to come through here from AGT as they just narrowly get their hands on it. But again, quick changeover over to NBO. In a matter of moments, we've seen 2 teams grabbing hold of that decoding. And with that, of course, the timer has been brought down to only 2 minutes. And now the time is slowly ticking away. FPOV going to try everything they can to push up that slight bit of a ramp position, but AGT on the opposing side finding themselves in a little bit of a different situation. So several points of contention now coming through across the map here.
The super tough thing here, by the way, is that if you take a look at it, currently NBO are the team in control of the Mandelbrick. All of the other teams that are alive right now, only one of them actually have a Tempest that is up, and that's going to be the side of AGT, who were the team that just went ahead and successfully stole it. But in terms of the possibility for steals for all of our other teams, like Team Genius, like Team Fnatic, who are kind of in that centrifuge building right now, how are they going to make progress, right? You pretty much just have to send your body onto the Mandelbrick, which is super difficult to do, especially when NBO are basically standing on the Mandelbrick and have all of their own utility to kind of work with the Toxic, the Luna, a Tempest of their own that can kind of pop the ult whenever you decide to kind of run into the smokes and try to jump onto the Mandelbrick decoding station, which is why I feel so good right now for the side of MBO. But somehow, someway, Bane peeks into the sight lines of Chins and wins the fight. And now Fnatic are going to have a little bit of a leg up onto the side of Team Genius. Yeah, sure, you guys are winning the 3v3 engagement. You're winning the fight, but what about the Mandelbrick? And it looks like Chuba is going to be trying to make something happen, but he's on Stinger. He's not on Tempest. He's going to be knocked, and he's going to be left to die on the decoding station potentially. But oh my gosh, potentially an area of contention here for Blake, as the Molotov is actually going to be taken out, enter completely, and now NBO are in control of the Mandelbrick. 10 seconds remaining, but they're only a duo. Can they defend it? Nas is trying to make something happen. He's going to be the Tempest for AGT, but you got to jump on the Mandelbrick. The timer's almost out. It's going to take 2.5 seconds to res. He almost tries to res. Oh my gosh. The fact that his teammate, the Stinger, was laying on the Mandelbrick decoding station. He went ahead and hit his interact bind, and instead of stealing it, he went for the res. And amongst all of the chaos, NBO have lost all of their lives, but not before they made their way out with the Mandelbrick.
What an insane turn of events we are witnessing right here. I mean, AGT coming so close to getting the steal on that Mandelbrick, but due to just the player being in the way, NBO gets the extracted Mandelbrick secured for themselves instead. And I mean, what an absolute insane round this has turned out to be. But of course, we still have 6 operators left here, and there's still quite a bit of time left for them to get down and sweaty, to get a bit more aggressive. FPOV, this could be their opportunity to secure the points they need to start climbing the overall leaderboard, because as you can see, they only have 10 points in this round.
Yeah, the more and more ties we see in the category of the Mandelbricks, the more and more these kills, these squad points are going to come into play here. It does look like AGT have wisely, in my opinion, actually opted to go ahead and take possession over this bridge. I got to be careful, though, if you are side of FPOV, because Yaku has that marksman rifle in hand with gold bullets loaded. One headshot could potentially be the difference maker here. But the reason why this position is smart from the side of AGT, because they know with 5 minutes remaining, some of these other teams are going to look towards this backpack extract to actually make their way out. It's pretty much going to be the only way that you can make your way out of this Space City game now that our timer is pretty low. So taking this early position means that some of these players might potentially just run right at them, as we do see in the top right, by the way. We did have a bunch of duos across the board, but Fnatic have given them the opportunity to go ahead and get their res off, so they're going to be back to a 3-man roster. But yeah, that's the difference right there. I mean, it takes, what, 2.5 seconds to go ahead and seize the Mandelbrick? Without a doubt, that was the difference maker right there. Kind of fumbling a little bit. Too many interactions kind of happening around him. Yersei is trying to make something happen right now, but he's going to be met with some great shots. A couple of headshots actually landing right there. I think that was a Raid Bull landing those, and Fnatic got to be feeling pretty good about this, right? Numbers are in their favor, but Yaku is off in the distance. It's going to try to go ahead and fend off Fnatic, kind of helping out FPOV, but Nasty is under heavy fire right now. We just saw Yersei jump around the corner and take out the teammate of Yaku, but not before Yaku was able to go ahead and land up some follow-up shots to find that knock and eventually find that full kill.
Quite a few trades coming in across the way, and slowly these numbers are starting to dwindle. As you can see, AGT and FPOV down to their last hopefuls currently. But that's going to be a bit of a loot sesh that is going to be making its way on through, right? Again, trying to push those assets as high as you can and pull up the 3x3 with anything of value out of this map. But now, Yaku, the sole survivor, is he going to try and bring his teammate up? No, instead, it seems like Yaku is going to be the one to go for that extraction, right? He was defending it for so long, looking to pick up a few easy trades along the way. And now, deciding to go and grab it himself. In the meantime, Blake just very cautiously now creeping up on Bane. I don't think Bane has any knowledge of his position here. And this could be a great opportunity now for FPOV to get those much needed points.
Yeah, if Blake is able to find Bane here, he should know that he's here because of the painkillers that were popped, but I gotta go ahead and call it like it is. An absolute fumble from the side of Blake right there. He kind of got locked in that slow moving animation because it is going to be a little bit of a toggle feature. He doesn't land any of the shots, unfortunately, and Fnatic are going to be picking him up as well. I did some quick maths right there, reading some of those kills on the bottom left-hand side. Total of 7 kills for the side of Fnatic. And the is going to be in their inventory, but there is no way for them to actually go ahead and extract with this after Yaki went ahead and took that backpack extract. So on the side of AGARTHA, again, they've kind of continued with this theme of making sure that in some of these games, they go ahead and extract. Remember, their tied person went very, very well as they got all 3 members out. And on this first Space City, they're going to be the only team to get anybody out. But for the side of Fnatic, this one has been kind of worth it, at least if you're taking a look at how many kills they were able to get. I mean, their total score is all the way up there, 26. They're in the lead without a doubt, but got to remember, man, the mana bricks are the most important thing. If Fnatic don't pick up a mana brick, it doesn't matter how many squad points they get. They'll be in 3rd place for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So the attention has to be for them to switch focus over to the mana bricks in some of these subsequent rounds. But it's just going to be all about making sure they can pick up as much loot as they possibly can, putting it into those 3x3 safe boxes, because all 3 of these members are going to fail the extraction. So the only thing they can take out is anything that's in their safe box.
Yep, that is unfortunate, but it makes sense, right? Imagine being able to put that AWM in your safe box. That's an insane strategy. But I guess no matter how you fold it up, it's not quite going to fit into the available spaces there, right? As far as I know, it's going to take up at least 5 or 6 slots in a row. Yeah, 3x3, not quite going to be working in that regard. But now it's just down to see how much Fnatic can find. Already sitting on 6.1 mil. If they can find a little bit more, that could, of course, increase those 26 points more so. But I agree with what you said earlier. 26 points is great, but it doesn't mean all that much if they don't have a Mandelbrick to back it up. I mean, if they get it, they are going to be the team that then by default gets 1st position.
All right, that's how game number 4 goes. We're into the mix of things when it comes down to the mana bricks, and we are starting to feel it with how these ones are playing out. Utter chaos towards the mana brick without a doubt, and to nobody's surprise, Mandelbrick Addiction once again, kind of that initial team picking up the mana brick. They make their way over to the decoding station, and unfortunately for them, they were wiped out shortly after by Team Genius. But after that, team of number 1 just kind of held it down. They were able to steal it back a couple of times. They were able to successfully defend, and I think that the time difference between the team of number 1 securing the mana brick and them going down must have been less than like 3 seconds. It was very, very close, but they're going to be our best team regardless, and it only required 1 singular kill out of them to go ahead and lock down that mana brick. 600 damage and a decoded mana brick is going to make these guys our best team.
I mean, absolute insane turnout that we saw here, but you know what? Sometimes that is just the way it goes to be number 1. And our best team coming in at the back of round number 4. But I'm curious to see how that is going to impact overall points, right? Of course, looking at what we've got here, Fnatic, they were just cooking it up with those 7 kills. And of course, the 2 mil that they were able to kind of find out in this round.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the best round there for them outside of the mana brick for sure, which is great. You know what I mean? Because that does win you out the tiebreakers if our teams are kind of tied in those mana bricks. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of our top killers here. No surprise that we're going to see a member of Fnatic towards the top here. DeJam with 4 of his own, followed up by a couple of members of Genius and FPOV here. That's going to be Chins and Yersei picking up 2 each right there. The top damage dealers, no surprise to see DeJam up there. He's able to go ahead and pick up 4 kills. He was the top guy over there. He's going to be the top guy dealing the most damage as well.
Yeah, well, of course, we do see Blake and Hannah also stepping up here with not only the damage, but the assist as well. So a very consistent performance coming in across the board. Looking at the angles, we do have Bane also bring in their contribution here for the side of Fnatic. So quite a fantastic play there from them. But now it is up to our asset owners. It is going to be Bane walking away with a big majority of it here. 317, well, 713, right? Looking at the numbers in the wrong direction, as Bane is going to be capitalizing on that raid pool, and Jam right there alongside him to just help lock it in. But Jam is going to be the one to walk away with the MVP with those 4 operator kills, 721 damage, and of course a decent amount of bank to leave with as well.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic just did such a great job on the back foot of the Jam, picking up all of those kills, kind of making something happen besides from the Mandelbrick, of course. And again, it just makes it so difficult when you are a team without a Tempest in hand, which is why we put a lot of value on it. Folks, listen, you got to follow DeltaForce_game across all of your socials. And if you want to download it on any platform, PlayDeltaForce.com is accessible on any single platform you can possibly think of. It is a great game. You've seen all of the action here today, and I know it's kind of making you want to try it. But with that being said, listen, we've got 2 teams with a Mandelbrick each. Are one of them going to be able to end it early? We'll have to see in game number 5. But before we jump into that, a short break.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that! It's an absolute swing! This... And at least he's got it though, they're here, lines them up, even through the shot, you're nuts! For the last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's gonna be hopping off that.
Finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up. Just do what the AI says.
Priority. Protect company assets. Valve closed.
You destroyed our home! That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codenamed N2, role engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into legal proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployment under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Cold. I can go colder.
Copy, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much. Don't you get barrel stuff? Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Down, there it is.
Welcome back to the Delta Force Rise series. We had a very interesting round number 4 coming through with a very close Mandelbrick decoding coming in. It almost got stolen before it wasn't anymore. And of course, now we get ready to see what is going to be coming through in round number 5. But before we get there, let's take a look at the board as things are looking quite interesting here for Genius. Still sitting on a very comfortable 21 squad points and that Mandelbrick. But of course, as we know, right, Fnatic, they've been bringing in quite a bit of heat with 23 total points.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good lead over number 1 as well, who the only other team with a Mandelbrick, a 9-point lead for them. But they got to be a little bit worried about Fnatic, right? Because if Fnatic is able to go ahead and pick up a Mandelbrick, then we will see Fnatic in first place, just on the back foot of them having more squad points. But as it currently remains, Fnatic going to be in 3rd place, AGARTHA in 4th place. EMEA, I think for the first time throughout the entirety of the day, they've been number 1. They've been number 2, I think, almost exclusively. And now they're all the way down to number 5. So they've got to kind of make something happen here very, very shortly before we run out of games. But speaking about running out of games, we're going into game number 5 on Space City, which leaves us with the possibility to only play 2 more after this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the operator polls here. It looks like Tempest is still available for all of our teams, so it'll be interesting to see which one of our teams kind of opt to go ahead and bring in that. Stinger also still available for everybody. Luna as well still available. Uluru kind of being knocked off the map for 3 of our teams. Actually, NBA, FLOORPOV, and Fnatic no longer going to have access to that Uluru, which again, I value Uluru pretty heavily because the Molotov is very, very good at denying access to some of those Mandelbrick steals. But let's go ahead and take a look at the most popular operators. I don't know, by the way, if we have ever seen a different operator on this specific stat. It's just always Stinger, Luna, and Tempest, especially when we make our way over to Space City.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that might look to change up quite a bit as we get further and further into that group stage. But, I mean, even the pick rate for Tempest has slowly started to drop down, right? It was on 27% yesterday, then it went down to 22%. Today, we see it sitting here on 21%. So definitely, there could be quite a bit of a shift coming through with regards to that. And now, the big focal point for us here is going to be, of course, the spawn predictions to see who's going to be getting those T1 spawns. It's not going to be Genius or AGARTHA, but it is going to be a surprise indeed as to who will pick up. And I'm curious to see who's going to be coming through with their Tempest into this round, right? Because as we saw there, 2 teams had not yet gone for any Tempest just yet. So they have a double session of those. Either 2 for this round, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or 1 this round and 1 the coming round. And there we have it. The only squad not with a Tempest on board is going to be none other than NBA. Everybody else has got that Tempest loadout locked in, and quite an interesting few decisions that they've made with their setup here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going to be happening in terms of the spawns. NBA are going to be the team that spawns over by the dormitory. Team FPOV are going to be having one of those tier 1 spawns, as is the team of number 1 over there by employee passage number 2. As a quick reminder, at number 1, the team, they already have a mana brick to themselves, so early access to that mana brick going to give them a great shot here. Yursei was kind of forced to wait in the wings there before he ran into the smoke, because aside of NBA, they pulled out one of those machine guns that had a 60-round magazine in it, and all 60 of those bullets just found its way into that smoke, hoping to go ahead and get some tags onto the team that kind of made its way in through Westgate. But FPOV. They played it well. They didn't take any damage. And oh man, this is sneaky. Take a look at the early kind of game plan for Team Genius. Hannah is just laying down in the bushes, waiting for his team to make his way over here, because take a look at where the rest of the team is. You can see it on the minimap right there, top left. Those blue little circles, that is the other two members of Team Genius. So they are completely split right now. Hannah is all the way to the south side of the map by that backpack extract, which where we know, of course, there is a decoding station. And I would imagine for Team Genius right now, the reason why they're so split, they're going to send their Tempest towards this Mandelbrick as soon as we hit that 16-minute mark. Once we hit that 16-minute mark, that's when all of these Tempests get their ults available. It takes about 2 minutes for that one to go ahead and recharge. So once it's been 2 minutes into the game, all the Tempests are going to be able to go ahead and run towards it. But they're going to hope that Chins is able to go ahead and pull out the Tempest ult, pick up the Mandelbrick, and bring it all the way back to where Hannah is holding down the fort.
Yeah, quite a bit of a trek for them to get down to that far southern position. But currently looking at what we have towards this Mandelbrick, not a lot of contention, right? Not a big lockdown coming through just yet. But as you said, it is all going to depend on who will be the first team to get their Tempest in here. And now it's going to be that full set. Oh, Genius Squad, they're locking it down as Chins now looks to push on through, getting so close, but not quite able to get that Mandelbrick in hand just yet.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for them, because if they were able to pick that Mandelbrick up and make the run all the way to the bridge where Hannah was sitting, they would have been in such a good position. But they're going to have to reset. We did see the Tempest ult kind of used for the side of Genius right there. I was trying to go ahead and keep a close eye on kind of if any of the other Tempests around and about had used their ults as well, but I'm not entirely sure. By the way, Fnatic brought in an I think they actually landed one of those shots early on to the receiving end of NBA. And yeah, sure enough, I'm actually taking a look at the map while we kind of take a little bit of pause here around the Mandelbrick. There's a giant fight happening up by the dormitory area. It's going to be Team Fnatic and Team NBA up here, as we're going to go ahead and tune into this one. Raid Bull is going to have a sniper. It's going to be a normal bolt action rifle in hand there. But yeah, this 3v3, man, it's just essentially going to stall out both of these teams. But as I mentioned that, it looks like Fnatic are going to go ahead and opt to retreat. But unfortunately for them, take a look at this. AGARTHA is actually sitting in Central Command building right now. So they got to be careful in this rotation.
Yeah, in the meantime, NBR, they are on a looting spree as they pick up a pocket watch and a gold bar. So Enter having a phenomenal refar. Let's see whether or not we are going to be seeing even more raids coming in their direction. But now it is going to be a white wraparound coming through from Fnatic as they push in right behind the players there from the side of AG. Very interesting that they choose to move up towards. Maybe there is some tactic that they have in mind for us, but we are yet to see a single team pick up that Mandelbrick. And this is a little bit more reminiscent of what we saw happening yesterday, right? There was quite a bit of a wait session before that Mandelbrick really actually started to move around.
Yeah, and usually the longer it goes before this initial Mandelbrick is actually kind of picked up, the more likely it becomes that nobody actually picks it up. That being said, remember that 16-minute mark was that initial Tempest ult kind of timer for when all of the ults kind of came available. I would imagine right now for the side of Team Genius and any of the other Tempests that went in and pumped their ult, they should be coming available once more. So probably going to be some plays around this Mandelbrick. And sure enough, yep, Chins is going to be jumping in with a Tempest ult right now. But he doesn't feel like he can go ahead and make anything happen with it. And that's because Obsess is going to be in the mix as well in the Tempest ult of his own. And I can't lie, there's so much kind of happening around the Mandelbrick. This is actually the second time we see that Havoc auto tank pick up a knock. Initially, it was onto the side of FPOV, but this time it's going to be on a different team. But take a look at this. Fnatic is trying to make something happen. It's going to be Nast finding the trade onto Bane, but Raid Bull goes ahead and returns the favor. But it's going to be a Tempest ult enacted right here for the side of AGARTHA. And both teams have one member down. Unfortunately for the side of Fnatic, it was not their Tempest ult that kind of went down. So AGARTHA potentially have something to kind of work with right here if they apply some pressure very, very soon. And it looks like they're going to get aggressive.
Well, aggression is going to be key here. Let's see whether or not they can get the job done. You can try and keep those numbers up and not have your non-Tempest getting taken down. Ooh. But a good shot coming through here from Chuba as he gets to play in with the Stinger. Goes for the finish. Confirmation is secured, but it's not in the bag just yet, right? Fnatic going to try everything they can here to try and bounce back. They still have Stinger and Tempest up, so still quite a bit of capability available to them. But how are they going to look to use this? Because again, right now they're just trying to gather enough information to figure out how to get the heck out of this precious spot that they find themselves in.
Some great shots from Shuba right there. This is a super tough area for AGARTHA to go ahead and push. That being said, the Luna recon start can kind of flush Fnatic out very, very easily. Because little areas like that, what's very, very hard about them is all of like the bushes and the grass and everything like that. It's kind of difficult to see through them. But if you have a Luna arrow kind of giving you all of the information, then it's pretty easy to go ahead and see. But for the side of FLOORPOV, remember, this is a team that is hanging towards the bottom of the leaderboard right now. The pressure is on for these guys. As a quick reminder, at the end of the day, right, this is just a group stage. There's a big group stage leaderboard at the end of the 4 weeks. If you get last place, if you get 6th place on any given day, you get 0 points. So you have to get off the bottom of the leaderboard. But take a look at this. Finally, on the 3rd attempt for the side of Team Genius, on the back foot of their Tempest stall, they get access to the Mandelbrick, and now the dash is going to be in. They're going to try to make the rotation on the southern side of the map. But NBA, they're going to try to go ahead and stop this. They got to go ahead and peek out of this door, which can be dangerous sometimes because remember, Hannah should be off of the distance up on the bridge, trying to provide some covering fire. And you can see the shots are trying to rain in. All of the teams are trying to deny this rotation right now, but it looks good. I think Chins is going to go ahead and make the cross, and he does indeed. But oh no, potential disaster. An over peak. Hannah was trying to go ahead and defend the cross for his 2 teammates, and he gets knocked in the process. But I think with the Toxic in hand and no pressure being found on the map, I think Klo will be able to go ahead and find the reset here. But almost a big mistake. Team Genius, they've got control over the Mandelbrick.
Yeah, a little bit of hard work goes a long way. And I mean, that clutch up coming through here from Kilo is definitely going to help bring Hannah back into the swing of things so they can get that defense set up yet again. And I mean, this of course opens a great opportunity for the side here of NBA to capitalize on that opening as they now start to wrap around that far southwestern side. But they have been spotted out, right? FPOV keeping a pretty tight angle on them, so it's not going to be a very easy push if they are trying to get themselves in an angle where they could maybe look to disrupt that decode. But there's still quite a lot of time left on the clock, so I don't expect the teams necessarily to look to do all too much just yet.
Very difficult for any of our teams to kind of make their way over to this decoding station. And the reason for that being is because you would love to just kind of run straight at it. But if you run straight at it, you got to imagine there's going to be other teams kind of interested in doing the same thing. So all of the teams that are now responsible for stopping Team Genius have to kind of work around one another, right? Because they don't want to get caught into a fight with each other, because then again, the clock would just run out and Team Genius would kind of get the Mandelbrick for free. So you have to kind of find a way to rotate in without being disrupted or disrupting any of the other teams that are also kind of trying to do the same thing. So it's a little bit of a weird dynamic, which is why this decoding station is so good to kind of make your initial approach to.
So in a sense, it forces a little bit of a synergistic approach to come through from our respective teams. But it does seem like number one are able to kind of sneak their way through over on towards the eastern approach here. As you can see them just off in the distance coming through that passageway. But they have been found, right? You can see Chins really good work here, knowing exactly which way to look around. And I like this position from Chins, especially coming through on the defensive side, right? If anything happens, you can just pop that ult out, run forward, clean it out, and quickly fall back into a slightly more secure position. But up comes the send now from the side of NBA as they start their zipline work. They have been spotted out by Hannah, and again, good strategic positioning coming through from Hannah.
A lot of teams are starting to make their approach here. Remember, it takes a little bit of time, but they will get into positions to where they can potentially contest. The big question is going to be which one of our teams is going to get the closest, which one of our teams is going to get in range of the Mandelbrick station for their Tempest ults. Every one of our teams actually has a Tempest on it, except for NBA. So these guys up on the bridge here, they probably are not going to be one of the teams that are going to be going in and stealing the Mandelbrick. But for the likes of the team of FPOV, who are kind of in the tunnels just beneath the bridge, they'll be sending their Tempest out, I would imagine, very, very shortly. But off screen, by the way, number one, the team of NBO is getting very, very close to Team Genius. They're opting for a potential flank here. They're going to go ahead and try to take the fight, but they are immediately shut down. Team Genius were set up perfectly for this one. It's going to be Chin's kind of landing the shots right now, but amongst all the chaos, when the trades are kind of happening on the other side of things, the side of FPOV, they go ahead and send in their Tempest. That was going to be Obsessed jumping on the decoding station. So now Team FPOV, they're going to have full access to the Mandelbrick. A little bit of a reset required for the side of Team Genius as one of their members kind of went down amongst all of the trades.
And this is exactly what FPOV is going to be looking to accomplish here, right? They want to try and see if they can just contest the decode for long enough, right? Getting it in their hands is not going to necessarily mean all too much with regards to the points, but it is going to take us quite securely into that next round. And beautiful angles coming through from AGT as they are causing absolute problems now for FPOV. Fortunately, they still have their stinger up, so the reses are going to come through quite quickly. This is now the opportunity for Genius to try and figure out a different approach. They've already been able to find a few hits over on towards NBO, but down in the underground, things are getting pretty sweaty. As you can see, AGT just trying to double down on the aggression here.
Remember, our two teams right now that both have a Mandelbrick each are going head-to-head on the backside of the backpack extract. And take a look at this. Chins finds Enter right there, but he also is going to be getting knocked. But that's fine because that's their Tempest kind of going down. Kilo is trying to make something happen, but you got to be careful. These angles are super, super difficult to deal with. By the way, as a quick note, that third member from the side of NBO, that's the second time he has been fully eliminated, so he cannot be res anymore. This is a now permanent 3v2 situation on the backside of this decoding station. Team Genius versus Team Number One. The only two teams with a Mandelbrick in their current possession. But whilst all this chaos is going on, whilst this little fight is happening over here, Team NBA, a team without a Tempest, actually just jumped onto the coding station, and now they have control of it.
Well, this is the kind of setups that we want to see come through. This is NBO now having to work exceptionally hard to even just stay alive. I love the aggression coming through here from Genius, just absolutely relentless in their approach. But Chins needs to be quite cautious, can't overextend this just yet. Quick play coming through there from Hannah, just trying to scout it out a little bit, sending out the Uluru utility, making sure that everything is good to go and helping to just lay down the barrage as Genius now starts their push here, trying to find the angles. They can sense that there is somebody right alongside them, but it's all going to come down to timing. Can they find the position fastest? And now, as you can see, there's a frantic Scarl coming through here for the side of NBO as they try to get themselves ready. But is going to try everything he can to lock it in. Unfortunately, NBO is not going to be able to sustain any of the damage coming to them.
Yeah, great work from the side of Team Genius. They were tired of kind of dealing with those flanks that were kind of coming in for the side of Number One. But remember, because they decided to go ahead and leave this position, NBA very wisely went ahead and just were like, hey, thank you. You guys left this very, very strong position over by the Mandelbrick. We'll take it. Now Team NBA are looking like the favorites to go ahead and secure this one. We'll have to see if Team Genius can kind of reset very, very shortly and maybe work their way back towards this decoding station. By the way, it's been utter chaos in these tunnels right now. As you can see, Fnatic Raid Ball is trying to make something happen. A disarm comes in, but an angle is not right. Yaku, the back foot of Team AGARTHA, being very, very good at playing as a three-man roster, kind of swinging the angles in unison right there. They have full control of the underside of the bridge. But take a look at this. Team Genius are trying to make something happen. They're trying to go ahead and push NBA off of the angles that they had previously had possession of, and all of the utility is kind of being traded right now. The Toxical coming in from Team Genius is going to put Yvellier very, very low, but he's not interested in taking the swarms out at all right now. You got to be careful. One shot would have taken him out right there. But he's going to be finally taking him out. But take a look at this on the backside of everything. AGARTHA is getting aggressive. It's going to be Nas finding the first one. It's going to be Yaku finding the second one. But amongst all the chaos, NBA, they win the 3v3. But you got to imagine with so many teams in close proximity, it's not going to be long before the full team of NBA is wiped off the map. Skitey has to stay alive for 15 seconds if he wants to go ahead and keep this Mandelbrick. If he wants to go ahead and seize the Mandelbrick, Team Genius, you guys got to do something. There's only 10 seconds remaining. But take a look at this. FLOORPOV, they're on the other side of things. They're trying to take out Team Genius as well. well, but Skitey goes down and the decoding has been interrupted. Team Genius, amongst all of the chaos, are the only 3-man roster remaining, but they got to get to the Mandelbrick soon, because take a look at the match timer. There's only 2 minutes remaining. I'm not even sure personally, DK, what the actual decoding timer is. Did it make its way all the way down to 90 seconds, or is it going to take 2 minutes to decode it?
Well, we're not quite sure just yet, but it is going to be Chins that gets dropped on down, as we do see Kilo going in for the decode, just narrowly getting the hand on it. But as you said, there's not enough time on the clock, so it still needs to change hands at least once more, at least twice more instead, to get it down to that minute 30 seconds. And I mean, we don't have enough time left on the clock for that even to be a thing here. So it's all going to come down to who is going to be the team to survive, and this is going to be the main focal point here for Genius. Can they survive the push coming through from 2 separate teams?
Red Bull's trying to make something happen with these disarms, but he has no idea where any of the members of Genius are. And oh my gosh, an incredible quick peek there from Klo to go ahead and take out the Jam. And one of those knocks onto one of the members of Fnatic was actually their Tempest. So there's only 1 member left remaining from the side of Fnatic, who's probably all the way back towards the bridge. But Genius, they've been so aware throughout this entire game. They know Team FLOORPOV is trying to make something happen with this flank. Team Genius are no longer interested in kind of waiting for this one to kind of pan out. Can he see him? He can see a little sliver of Yerse. He's go ahead and hit some shots, does some damage, but not the full kill.
Oh, we do see Blake also now trying to step up as well, getting involved in the carnage and the chaos. But up comes Hannah again, just looking to be so mobile, moving all over the place. Still got to watch out for that potential third party coming through here from Red Bull, as this could be looking to upset things, at least for the side here of Genius. They have been spotted out and are taking quite a bit of a beating to the face. Now it's going to be the opportunity for FPOV to start advancing as well. You can see Asai right on the front line getting ready. They know that there is an opportunity to land quite a few devastating blows, and already things are looking pretty tough now for Kilo as he quickly manages to heal himself up. But up goes Red Bull, and he's going to be running straight into FPOV.
Amongst all the chaos, somehow, someway, Kalo kind of emerges from the smoke, finds his way around to the backside of Red Bull, takes him out, but not before going down to Blake. And somehow, someway, Blake is going to be the last remaining operator on the map there. There were so many kills. I have no idea what team got the most amount of kills. I have no idea how many kills went to any certain team. But one thing is for certain, DK, in game number 5 here on Space City, not a single team picked up that Mandelbrick, unfortunately, amongst the absolute carnage that was happening down there on the south side of the map.
I mean, it was
the match timer.
Fight.
The match timer just got too low.
It's crazy to see how this all just panned out here, but it is going to be Genius to be our best team come end of round. It is going to be Kilo, Hannah, and Shins walking away with 9 operator kills, only 251k secured, but an absolute multitude of damage, right? Almost hitting 1800 damage. That is pure insanity, but it makes sense looking at everything that went down over in towards that southern side of the map. I mean, it was brutal, but that's the way that you have to fight if you want to get your hands on those Mandelbricks.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, 9 is an incredible number from the side of Team G. Just remember, this is a team that already has a Mandelbrick, so they are going to soar above number 1, who are the only other team with a current Mandelbrick. We'll take a look at that leaderboard in just a little while. But for the side of AGARTHA, again, 5 kills for them. That's pretty good. Team of NBA, we kind of saw them getting into the mix there. They looked like they were the team that was going to go ahead and secure the Mandelbrick, but unfortunately for Skitey, he was 10 seconds away. If he could have just lived for 10 more seconds, I think they would have potentially went ahead and secured that Mandelbrick. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of the individual performances for some of our players. And to nobody's surprise, there's going to be a couple of members of Team Genius up there. Hannah and Kalo, first and second place.
Yeah, absolutely exciting things here for them. And of course, it still continues to be the same as we head over on towards our top damage dealers. Hannah holding a very strong presence right here. Absolutely loving this for them. But of course, We got to take a look and see where it goes next, as we are going to be looking at the asset earners. And of course, Enter a Name is going to be the one to lead the board here with 537.6k. So not an excessive amount of loot has been found in this round. But of course, looking back at all the engagements and fights that we saw, it makes a whole lot of sense. But Vivid, take us through the player stats.
Yes, there's going to be a little bit of a head-to-head here between Bake and Kalo. You can see operator kills over there, just a single one, but Kalo was able to pick up 3. He's going to be second on that leaderboard there. Damage went towards the way of Kalo as well. I mean, yeah, pretty much across the board, you can see Kalo just had more damage, just had more kills there. But the MVP of game number 5 on Space City, to nobody's surprise, Hannah just simply had the most amount of kills, just simply had the most amount of damage, and as a result, the most valuable player.
Yeah, I mean, Genius, they've been pretty dang consistent here today across the board. Hannah just showcasing the capabilities here once more. But of course, you know, we continuously see points getting raked in. The numbers just starting to climb higher and higher. But at the end of the day, we need to see another Mandelbrick being played to see if one of our competing teams that already have those bricks in hand can look to get their second brick in and take the match.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be great to kind of see. I can't believe we see this again on EMEA, where some of these rounds are going without anybody securing some of these mana bricks. But with that being said, as a result, nobody picking up 2 mana bricks so far. We got to keep on going. We got to jump into game number 6, and we'll do that very, very shortly after this quick break.
Pick up 2 members. Now the odds are in their favor. 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little. So hang on a second, NL. Look at that. It's an absolute sweat. This. And LG's got to know that they're here. Lines them up, even through the shot. You're nuts. The last remaining 3 BOV, they find 2 instant knocks. The Helm's going to be hopping off that.
This court finds that the AI holds no legal responsibility.
But the data, this doesn't add up. Just deal with the AI.
Priority. Protect company assets. Valve closed.
You destroyed our home! That dream again.
Gabriel Mercier, codenamed N2, role engineer. As a former nuclear facility engineer, N2 was removed from his position following a major incident that escalated into league proceedings. He later returned to military service and was reassigned to Arctic deployment under CBR and related units. With the originally designated technical specialist unable to fulfill operational requirements, and following assessment review, N2 has been approved as a replacement operator for the subsequent operation.
Stun out. Throwing stun. Stun hit. Freeze right there. It's getting cold.
N2 is equipped with a modified grenade launcher, capable of firing up to 6 LN2 grenades. Upon impact, each round detonates and releases a burst of cryogenic gas, dealing area damage and significantly impairing enemy mobility. Sustained hits can fully immobilize targets through extreme low temperature exposure.
Cold. I can go colder.
The enemy got the Mandelbricks. Find and stop them. Mandelbrick decoded. Nice work, operator.
The time to strike is now. Do not let me down, operator.
Decoding has begun. Defend the area.
Is about to take the first hit to bring up the tournament. And they're going to do it.
What goes around, comes around.
Oh, I'm not gonna do very much. Though. You get barrel stuff. Skydie is getting aggressive.
See what I did there? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Let's knock them off their feet.
There we go. Much damage, and there it is.
And we're back on the Delta Force Rise series for EMEA. Day number 2 is just heating up so much. Round 5 was absolutely on fire. A very tough round indeed. As you can see, the players just trying to get themselves ready to see what this next round is going to hold for them. An absolutely brutal push across the board. But as we know, at the end of the day here, Vivid, only one team can sit atop the board with all the points to look all happy with. And of course, we are going to be taking a look at Genius with 32 squad points to their name.
Yeah, they're going to be sitting pretty towards the top of the leaderboard without a doubt. You can actually see the only other team with a Mandelbrick, team number 1, are 21 points behind. So Team Genius have got to be feeling pretty good about it. But let's go ahead and talk about it again, right? Fnatic have kind of been sitting in that 3rd spot for quite some time now. They're on 22 points. So still a lot of work for them to be done outside of just a Mandelbrick if they want to go ahead and get that 1st place spot. We're going into round number 6 here on Space City. Only 2 maps kind of remain, 2 opportunities for either the likes of team number 1 or Team Genius to go ahead and end this one early, to go ahead and pick up a 2nd Mandelbrick, but still 2 opportunities for any of our other teams to also join them on that leaderboard of Mandelbricks right there. And honestly, you know, obviously go ahead and take a look at the predicted spawns here, but we got to talk about it, TK. The strategy here, we kind of saw it yesterday from Team Gotaga when they were in 1st place, when they felt pretty comfortable with the amount of squad points that they had. They no longer remained interested in actually securing a Mandelbrick of their own. They just want to deny it from pretty much everybody else, because remember, if nobody else throughout the rest of the day actually goes ahead and picks up a Mandelbrick, then Team Genius will win. There's no way anybody, especially team number 1, can kind of catch them being 20 points behind in terms of the squad points there. So Team Genius have multiple ways to win, in my opinion here. We'll have to see which one of those 2 strategies they go ahead and decide to employ.
Yeah, I mean, that is very true what you said, right? They could win by default, but I mean, there is still that opportunity for number one to get their hands on a Mandelbrick and win, irrespective of the amount of points that Genius has to them, right? So this is going to be quite a high pressure round coming into here. As we can see, the teams, of course, fully out with the gold ammo across the board. Everybody now still holding on to their purples. But we are going to be looking at a little bit of a pressure play now coming through from Genius over on towards that west bridge.
Yeah, spawned over by the dormitory area. Not getting early access to that. Of course, NBA being one of these teams that picked up the tier 1 spawn. By the way, Fnatic, that other team that is kind of close in the wings in terms of the squad points, also got another tier 1 spawn. So they're going to be having early access to the center of the map. And AGARTHA, you can see them, how they are currently positioned here in the building of Buoyancy. Have also made their way to the center of the map very, very quickly. So we've got 3 teams kind of in the mix here. Fnatic, NBA, and Team AGARTHA already towards the center of the map, already towards this initial spawn of the Mandelbrick. That being said, we kind of talked about the operator pool. Now, they were all the way to kind of like the end of this in game number 6. We only actually see 3 teams with a Tempest on their side, so we'll have to see if they can kind of find some value out of it. But for the side of MPA, remember, these guys have constantly found themselves towards this initial Mandelbrick pickup. But I don't think they're going to want to run at it this time, because they could just wait for their Tempest to kind of become active before they go for it.
Yeah, so it's all going to be down to timing and kind of strategic positioning as to teams trying to get their hands over onto that Mandelbrick and start this whole bit of chaos all over yet again. Does seem like NBA are going to be the first team to try and pull this one out of the bag here. Let's see whether or not Skitty can get their hands successfully placed upon it, as Raid Bull is going to be looking to lock it down, but it's of course going to be that match point opportunity for Genius or NBO. So pretty high stakes indeed on the table here for them. I like this angle going through from Raid Bull, just applying the pressure, making sure that NBA is not going to be able to secure that Mandelbrick just yet. But again, another team can look to set it up, and we are well within that Tempest ulti time.
Yeah, without a doubt. I kind of caught it. I didn't think NBA were just kind of going to run at the Mandelbrick spawn there. I thought they were going to wait for their Tempest ult to kind of come up, but they did not. They just kind of ran for it. But take a look at this. Some trades actually happening right here. It's going to be AGARTHA versus Team NBA. A knock on each side of this fight as it currently stands. You got to imagine both sides of the coin here are just going to be interested in potentially going ahead and resetting. Chubu is trying to go ahead and deny the res right here on the back foot of a couple of triple blasters, but those are going to be very far away from where the knocked body actually is, and the reset does actually make its way in. Again, Chubu's going to try to make something happen here, but the big question is, where can NBA go? Because they know Team AGARTHA are above them, which is pretty much the way towards that decoding station. And with this great peek from Yaku, who's going to return right to the peak where he just got knocked from, Team NBA are actually going to have a lot of pressure right here, just in the back foot of, they don't really have anywhere to go.
Regardless of which angle they look to take, it is going to be just pressure. But FPOV, wow, pulling back a very, very long way, getting themselves right out of that pressure situation. But now we look over on towards that west bridge, right, with Genius sneaking in a few cheeky hits.
2 knocks instantly found, both of which, or no, only one of which was on that headshot from the marksman rifle. The other one was on the receiving end of the Mandelbrick. Team Genius have just been potentially given an early gift here. The Mandelbrick is in the smoke. You got to imagine they're just going to want to go ahead and jump on that, pick up the Mandelbrick, and run over to this dormitory decoding station. Team Genius were just waiting in the wings. They said, MPA, listen, you guys got nowhere to go in the center of the map. Why don't you come on over to the dormitory building? We're just waiting. So now we're going to be seeing Team Genius, again, a team that already has a Mandelbrick captured, putting the Mandelbrick down at this decoding station all the way over by the dormitory building. This one is a very rare station to actually find its way over here. Whether or not any of our teams are even going to know how to handle this one is yet to be kind of answered. This is going to be a crazy one. Very, very unique spot.
I mean, first time that I'm seeing it happening over towards the dormitory side. So I just based on what we can see here in the layout in the area, it is going to be quite a difficult one for the teams to have a successful push and charge coming through towards that station. So excited to see what the teams are going to be cooking. But of course, because of that fast shift coming through with the Mandelbrick, a lot of the teams will have to relocate quite a bit here. As you can see, FPOV starting to make their moves. AGT keeping a very cautious approach. But Fnatic and, of course, number one are going to start to make their way over towards that west side.
3 minutes already since they kind of put it in. A minute has passed. So still 3 minutes for any of our teams to kind of do something. But this steal, remember, it's going to be super hard. Because the Tempests that are actually around the map, there's only 3 teams that actually have a Tempest right now. You can see Floor POV is trying to go ahead and get an idea of what the heck happened. He sees a downed body, which is potentially going to call off the push here for the side of FLOORPOV because they know somebody's knocked right there. But the question for your side right now is, where did he get knocked from, right? The angle, the approach on that western gate door feels very, very scary as Red Bull is going to be receiving some shots from Chins all the way across the map. Remember, Team Genius, they've got that marksman rifle, and there are a lot of open sight lines that are actually required for you to make your way over to this dormitory building. You can see as soon as Yursei kind of peeks around this west gate angle, immediately getting shot.
So a very big brain strategy being utilized here by the side of Genius, and I think they've got a very fitting name, especially for a position like this. But now it's going to be up to the rest of the lobby to get super creative as to how they're going to get themselves up towards that Mandelbrick. Because if nobody's able to contest it, that is going to be Genius walking away with a double brick. And that is going to be the end of the match.
Our timer's getting pretty low right now. You can see at the bottom right of your screen, Team Fnatic, they're trying to make a little bit of a swim play happen. And actually, simultaneously, so is the team of FLOORPOV. This swimming angle, by the way, is going to give them access to basically where you would spawn if you got that west gate on. You can see where Team FLOORPOV are actually making their way up to the ground right here. Team Fnatic are going to be very, very close behind them because this is pretty much one of the only platforms where you can actually gain access to this dormitory building. So there might actually be a giant brawl between these two teams that actually ended up swimming, which would be great for Team Genius.
Yep. It would be alleviating quite a bit of that pressure coming through, but already Team Genius quick on the reactions there as they've already spotted out the FPOV pushing up right behind them. But now it becomes go time, right, as we do see Fnatic slowly encroaching on FPOV's position. Genius is going to try and lock it down. They've planted that Morse ulti, just making sure that they know exactly which way to look so that there's no surprises. But FPOV, they've got other things to worry about, right? Fnatic is going to be coming in right behind them. And this is, as you said, right, a glorious opportunity now for the side of Genius. But meanwhile, it is going to be number one looking to push in from that northern approach. They are essentially right on top of Genius.
Yeah, this is working out perfectly for the side of Team Genius with these two teams fighting to the south side of them. They don't even have to look to the south. They can fully go ahead and focus their sight lines towards this side of Team NBO. By the way, this is a fight between first and second place, but with only 10 seconds remaining, I mean, this is done. Team Genius have won, right? They have successfully gone ahead and defended this. Sure, it was on the back foot of Team NBA, kind of bringing the Mandelbrick directly to them, but they go ahead and plant it. They successfully defend off all of the pushes coming in from some of our teams, and that's going to be Team Genius winning out day number 2 of the group stage.
Oh, big GG going over to them, but we are far from done here as we still have everybody in this round looking now to fight for points, right? They are going to be fighting for those kills as that is going to help them solidify their total score at the end of the day here. And this is the big opportunity for a team like AGT to just rake in a few more plays. Yes, they are down to 2 players, but the opportunity is available to them. If they can get at least 2, maybe 3 kills, that could put them right on par with what we see NBA and, of course, the players there from FNC having on their side. But it's a bit of a standoff here. FPOV trying to play this one a little bit cautiously, right? With the solo, there's only so much you can do. We can do see SkyTeep getting traded up as well. Fortunately, there is to get himself back on his feet. And now it is going to be Genius looking to clean out a house.
Yeah, first and second place are pretty much locked in, right? Nobody can knock Genius out of first place, and nobody can knock team number 1 out of second place. And neither one of those teams can kind of gain anything right now. But The kind of fight for third, fourth definitely still matters right here. If you take a look at the left side of your screen, the total scores, how close they are. Just a 5-point spread between third and fifth place right now, which means that this fight between Team FLOORPOV and Fnatic means a great deal, because this will actually open the door for Team NBA to potentially knock Fnatic out of that third place spot, whether or not they can go ahead and pick up a couple of kills here. But then it also opens the door for the side of Team FPOV to potentially go ahead and steal away fifth place from Team AGARTHA, which would be great, because, by the way, at the end of the day, if you're in last place, you get 0 points towards the group stage. But you're in fifth place, you do go ahead and get 1 point. So those differences do matter the higher and higher you go up the leaderboard.
Yeah, at this place, it is good to be the side of Genius or number one, right? Because they are going to be just walking away with so many points at the end of the day here. But it's all now down to, as you said, the rest of the teams. Can FPOV secure those 2 final kills to just get themselves ahead of AGT? That would be such an upset for AGT, but of course they are not in this round anymore, right? They've been completely eliminated. And it's down to the remaining squads and teams to see what they can bring to the field here. We do see NBO now back up to that 3-piece. FPOV also back on a full 3-piece. And this is exactly the kind of pacing for the squad. I mean, there's so much riding on this for them here. And I'm pretty sure they are well aware of that. But it is going to be quite a bit of a tall order, especially now for FPOV to go toe-to-toe with number one.
And without a doubt, I mean, it doesn't even matter what happens right now, again, for the side of Team Genius or for the side of NBO. It cannot improve, and they cannot kind of go down the leaderboard as it currently stands. But of course, they're still going to want to go ahead and pick up as many kills as they can, right? Both of these teams want to be as dominant as they possibly can. But again, the pressure should be kind of felt here for our other two teams, NBA and Team FPOV. They have to get these kills if they want to improve themselves up on the leaderboard. And the approach here for the side of NBA, remember, NBA, as it currently stands, are actually in the center of the map. The other 3 teams on the map are all kind of over by this dormitory area. NBA could potentially just play to extract and maybe pick up enough value to kind of put them or give them enough points to take down Fnatic, who are in third place. I'm keeping a close eye on that toe to score on the left side. I just saw it go +1. NBA were on 22. They just went to 23. So only 1 point behind Fnatic right now. Yersay's trying to make something happen. A couple of shots do land, but not enough to go ahead and take out Matthias. But take a look at this. Team Genius have kind of joined the action once more. They're just a duo, but they are in a great position right now. Matthias, he cannot stand up. If he does, I would imagine that Hannah is going to go ahead and find some great shots. But I don't know if Hannah knows that Matthias is actually here. This might work out great for the side of NBO.
See if they can get this one in the bag. Enter just trying to keep it nice and quiet, just trying to sneak his way around.
Oh, sheesh.
Quick put down going through on that one, as the shots just look so dang effortless. But of course, it is going to be Genius looking to see if they can follow up here. FPOV already putting quite a bit of work in on them, and Hannah is now going to be the lone survivor left to see if he can maybe bring his squad mate back into the fight. Obsessed though, just cleaning it up, right? Moving forward, getting those confirmations, and they need 1 more point now to catch up with NBA.
Yeah, I was actually kind of tossing this up as FPOV jumping up to 5th place. They've got the potential to gain more here, as finally NBA have actually joined the action, and they find the last remaining member of NBO, so they're going to be getting a kill play for that. But this is working out so great for the side of FPOV. They get another knock. Take a look at the bottom left side of your screen. They're up to 7 kills. Their position on the leaderboard is just on the back foot of the incredible performance, just straight up with all of the kills that they have been able to go ahead and pick up here in game number 6. Remember, this is the last opportunity on this specific day for them to kind of jump up the leaderboard, because we're going to end after this. Team Genius have picked up a second Mandelbrick, and they actually go ahead and help the side of Yersay find the finish right there, with Hannah kind of picking up the last remaining damage needed onto that knocked body. But Skydie has a lot of work to do. Remember, they want to improve on the leaderboard as well. They want to take out Fnatic from that number 3 spot. But it might be FPOV on the back foot of that well-timed, well-placed grenade. What can FPOV kind of do here? Can they continue on can they continue to find these points and find these kills?
I mean, there's a lot riding on this for FPOV, right? If they play this one beautifully, right? If they take down Genius and NBA, that could see them actually moving into third place, right? So there's so much on the line here. Kilo, though, is going to be coming under a little bit of fire. Yosai, unfortunately, not being able to land enough of those hits, but a beautiful follow-up is going to help close the door there. And that is exactly what FPOV is going to be trying to do as they now move up into fourth. The shots are in, and that is FPOV up into third as they sit with 25 glorious points next to their name. But they're not out of it just yet. They still need to take care of NBA.
Yeah, here's the thing, by the way. If FPOV have kind of picked up any amount of loot, then that's going to actually count towards their total score right now. So with only 2 minutes remaining, I don't think any of the members of FPOV are actually going to make it out of this map, which means that the actual amount of assets that they have right now are kind of fake, right? Because they're not going to be able to extract with anything that's kind of in the backpack. You're watching their score go up. They were at 25 points after they picked up all the kills. They've since gone up to 27. And that's probably them just kind of putting some guns in their backpack that they've kind of picked up. And yeah, sure, that loot matters in the grand scheme of things, but they're going to fail to extract, which means that those points are actually going to drop. How much they drop is basically going to be up to how much of this loot they're basically not able to make it out with. So there's still actually a lot of math to be done when it comes down to the leaderboard. But as it currently stands, FPOV might be in third place even after they go ahead and fail to extract. And somehow, some way, we thought that NBA were going to be fighting for third place. They've actually dropped down to fifth.
Wow. But again, right, it is all down to the value that teams actually are able to leave with. And so I agree with what you said. Some of those points for FPOV are not necessarily the actual points, but with NBA now moving up here, he could potentially get spotted out, and that could really help solidify the position for FPOV. But it's all going to be down to what they get to pull off right here. It's going to be a full 3-on-1 send. Up they come. The first one is in. Down goes SkyT, and that might have been the ticket for FPOV to jump all the way from this round off much further down. And of course now potentially being set all the way up in third place.
What a great effort from this team, man. I think they've soared themselves all the way up to third place, which is great for obviously the group stage leaderboard. But it's also great. We kind of talked about it a little bit as I do see they have 10 total kills in this game alone. And we talked about it earlier on, the prize pool. Remember when we were looking at that prize pool graphic? Yeah, sure. At the end of the 5 weeks, when we jump into the finals, these teams will fight for that $60,000 first place spot. But throughout the group stage, every single kill being worth $50 right there, and then picking up 10 kills in game number 6 here, the last game of the day. That's going to be a $500 swing in just one game for the side of FPOV. An incredible feat there to not only boost themselves all the way up the leaderboard. Again, we'll have to run the numbers. We'll have to make sure that the loot wasn't playing a giant part in that total score leaderboard that we were seeing on the left side, but I think the kills will do enough there. I think we also got to turn our attention, DK, over to Team Genius. Those guys, they picked up 2 Mandelbricks. They ended the competition early here in game number 6. We will not be going to game number 7 just because of how well this team played. Kalo, Hannah, and Chins are your best team in game number 6. And why don't we just go ahead and say it, DK? They're the best team over the course of the day in general.
Yeah, I mean, they've really been just cranking out those points. As you can see, they are leaving with 3 eliminations alongside a decent of value there as well. But FLOORPOV still managing to secure themselves those 10 kills that you were talking about, it right? That is an additional $500 in the bag for them. And of course, no surprise to see Versailles and Obsess right here as 2 of our top killers walking away with 9 kills between the 2 of them.
Incredible individual performance. I think that 6 kills was the most that we have seen throughout the day. And you can say, yeah, sure, Obsess is picking up those 6 kills, and he does have 130 damage of his own, but Yersei and Blake kind of being up here in the top damage dealers as well. But with Yersei kind of being right behind Obsess, that means that the assists The assists were kind of probably flying in from your side, doing so much damage, right, to kind of help Obsess actually pick up a lot of those kills. And some of our top assisters here is going to be Matthias from the side of NBO, Great Bull, and Chuba from the side of AGT. But the top asset earners, again, none of our operators actually making it out of space in game number 6 here. So these assets are just simply going to be what they were able to take out with those 3x3 safe boxes. Almost a mil was fit into the safe box of Obsess right there. So incredible stuff. And he's also going to be picking up that MVP.
I mean, some great tactics here from Obsess to just make sure that there is so much in that 3x3 before the round ended up. But yeah, 6 operator kills, that is definitely going to help them sit quite comfortably. Of course, that leads us to the big question is, what is the overall position now for FPOV? Were they able to secure themselves that 3rd place, or are they maybe down in 4th? Of course, we don't know, but there's a reason why we numbers, right? It's not our job. People that are really good with numbers, and they are making sure that everything exactly the way it should be. But what an exciting round number 6. I'm so happy to see that the teams just brought so much aggression out onto the field here.
Yeah, without a doubt, it was an incredible 6-game series. I won't lie, I was a little disappointed on Zero Dam because it went very, very slow. I will not lie. It took very long before we were able to see any action, but again, we kind of coined Zero Dam as what felt like a little bit of a warm-up match, because after Zero Dam ended, our teams were going at it pretty much for the rest of the day. So it was very, very entertaining. Unfortunately, we did have one map kind of go without a Mandelbrick being captured, but ending things early here, genius, man. They deserved it without a doubt. It was great to see them perform so well.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much that we can say that they've done wrong here, because they've just been absolutely big braining it. Of course, speaking about which, though, we are going to be hopping into a bit of an interview to get even more insights as to all the insanity we had erupting all over the field. And I mean, looking at it here, we've got the Nefatu coming through from the side of Genius. Absolutely amazing performance by the squad here today. I mean, it's just brutal, right? So much happening. And I mean, Vivid, where do we go with this?
Listen, we're going to be jumping into an interview here with the coach from Team Genius. Nefato, welcome to the stage here. Man, listen, you're going to be the coach here for the side of Team Genius. Man, what was the cause, right? Like, how are you kind of helping your team play so well today?
So first of all, I really appreciate that you appreciated the work of my team today. I would say that during all our scrims and the last official games, it was just small changes of the plan before the game we had today. In a couple of hours, obviously, I cannot change their pace much during the games, in between the matches, because I know I can trust them. We just made some small changes, especially on Brakkesh, and as you see, it gave some results. And I'm really happy for the guys. I was watching them all the way, and I hope they made a good show for you too.
A lot of excitement coming through as a result of that. And now I think the big question here is, do you feel that we are going to be seeing Genius now just trying to capitalize on this performance that we had here from them today, or do you think they're going to go to new heights when we see them stepping back onto the screen again?
So as I said in interviews earlier, our team is like a dark horse, you know, in the games. It's someone you do not expect to win, but someone who can bring some trouble to other teams. And this is what we're doing now. And we hope we can gain the momentum and keep it up until the finals, I hope. And let's see how it's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think Team Genius are going to be kind of noted as dark horses anymore. They absolutely stomped the competition today. But the fact that you kind of regard them as dark horses makes me kind of wonder, are there any teams out there that you kind of think are kind of favorites outside of Team Genius, or you know, people outside of the fan base here for Team Genius might potentially kind of value other teams a little bit more or a little bit too highly?
So I would say that I'm not making someone better. I would say that someone is more famous than we are. So maybe some of the nicknames you have seen already earlier. And these ones,
I get what you're saying.
The local community, they know about them, absolutely. But we are just making us worldwide. Let's call it like that.
Love it.
Yeah, there we have it. I mean, a very strong statement being made here for the side of Genius. Now, this is where we want to ask you, do you have any message for the fans or the viewers or even for the opposing teams before we wrap it up here today?
So, for the fans, for the viewers, first of all, for those who support my team, I thank them very much for watching all the 6 maps we had. And for their support, absolutely. And for all the viewers, I hope you're enjoying the show. I hope you like what we're showing you, and the rest of the teams as well.
Well,
right,
there we have it.
Thank you from the coach of Team Genius. And listen, you guys actually aren't done for the weekend, so I want you guys to go ahead and rest up. We'll be seeing you guys kind of return to the stage tomorrow, and hopefully the performance is similar then.
Thank you very much, guys. It was also very nice to have you as a caster today. So I hope you're going to be having a lovely weekend too.
Thank you very much. We'll be seeing you. Oh, man.
Well, there we go.
Great insight. I think it's the first time we've actually jumped in with a coach this weekend, for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's the first of many to come. And of course, it's always great to have those insights coming through from the coaches themselves. But the big thing we need to look at is going to be the insanity we have over here, of course, aka our leaderboard, right? It is going to be Team Genius sitting up there with a glorious double Mandelbrick play, 36 squad points. And that is them making a very strong statement on their first day of play.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I kind of talked about it. Obviously, the double Mandelbrick speaks to its own right. Like, that is an incredible feat. But the 25 kill points, the 36 total squad points, it was utter domination from this team throughout the day. And by the way, we have to talk about it because it was pretty much the highlight of the end of game number 6 right there. Team FLOORPOV, by the way, every single one of those kills that they got ended up mattering. I mentioned it. Remember, when we were live in the game, their leaderboard showed them at 29 points, which means that they had so much loot in their backpacks that it was kind of accounting for 4 supply points that they, of course, could not have actually walked away with. So if they didn't find that last kill actually onto Skitey, they would have dropped 1 place and Fnatic would have actually went ahead and picked up 3rd. So all those kills ended up mattering. But let's go ahead and take a look at how everything ended up panning out throughout the day here. Bane with the highest kill death ratio, 2.67 there. Great to see him. The best killer, the player walking away with the most amount of kills on the day, Hannah there with 10, and then DK, our match MVP.
Yeah, it's going to be none other than Chins all the way from the Genius squad. An absolutely phenomenal play. 9 operator kills, 7.5 million assets gained, and of course 2.3k damage. Absolutely amazing work being done here. Total assists looking very strong there as well. And I mean, you just got to give it up to Genius. They played a very strong game here today. But you've mentioned it as well, right? FPOV, they did quite a bit of work, and you can see just where the players find themselves. Obsess managing to secure himself all the way in towards that 11th position, right, with the total kills across the board. But as we know, at the end of the day, it is going to be a race for that MVP come the end of the tournament. But the big question, though, is how does Group C and D now slot in alongside Group A and B? And there we have our answer. It is going to be Genius coming through with a glorious 10-point finish at the top of the board after our first 2 days.
Yep, and the difference maker there is, remember, Team Gotaga won yesterday, but they only won with 1 Mandelbrick captured. So the difference here is going to be Team Genius. Yeah, they won as well. So both of these teams picking up 8 points, but every Mandelbrick you capture is also worth 1 point, which is why Team Genius, because they went ahead, they got 2 Mandelbricks today. They have 10 total match points, but no need to worry if you're kind of taking a look at this leaderboard and you feel like your fan favorite at home is not doing as well as you necessarily wanted them to, because every single one of our teams are still going to be showing up in the group stage at least 5 more times. We've got a bunch more of these types of competitions going on for our teams to go ahead and pick up as many points as they possibly can. The group stage is a very long way away from finishing, but as it currently stands, Team Genius and Team Gotaga out to an early lead.
Yeah, and there's, of course, still quite a lot to look forward to. As we know, our teams are going to be looking to continue to crank out those players. So Group A and Group C, they're going to be having their chance to show us what they can bring to the battlefield tomorrow. So that, of course, is a bit of a rest opportunity for B and D. So Genius and Team Gotaga, right? They can have a little bit of a wrestling match tomorrow, but the same can be said for Dark Entity and AGARTHA, right? You don't want to be set in that 11th or 12th position. So very exciting to see exactly what these teams are going to be looking to bring on through as we step into our third and final day for week number 1, which is going to be hitting the screens tomorrow.
Yep, tomorrow at the same exact time as we kind of went live today. And you kind of mentioned it, Group A versus Group C. For me, it'll be very, very interesting to see how Team Gotaga and Team Genius kind of match up against one another. But I mentioned it, look at that. This is a 4-week-long group stage, by the way, which will lead into week number 5, where we'll have those survivor stages, which is pretty much kind of counted as a last chance to go ahead and qualify for the finals. That'll happen on just one day. By the way, this all kind of culminates to just one singular day of competition, which is why this is very, very exciting. But DK, what a day we have had. What a couple of days we have had. And the weekend is actually not even over yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's been super, super exciting. And of course, I just want to give a big shout out to FPOV for what they pulled off in this last match. Right? They went from last position up into third in one game by being beasts, by being monsters, and just hunting for those kills. So, you know, aggression pays off quite a bit for that. And of course, I want to give a big thank you out to all our viewers across all the different platforms. Wherever you're tuning in, we appreciate you, because without you, we couldn't put on a show, right? So thank you so much for being here and supporting these squads. Of course, a big shout out going out to everybody at Delta Force. Vivid, big shout out for you as well for today. Another amazing day done and dusted. And of course, from here, the only thing left to do is to head over to Americas to see what is going to be happening on that side of things.
Two members, now the odds are in their favor, 2v1. Everything getting spammed away, and MT getting a little... So hang on a second, NL! Look at that, it's an absolute sweat! And LG's got him, they're here, lines them up, even through the shock, you're nuts!